I want to go and see the reconstruction. Amazing pictures of that, and also amazing events. Always when Trump is involved, it's always something that's good for a laugh. Flirting with Jill Biden, you dirty boy. If we'll get to all of that, but first, in Syria, the Assad regime is done. Is it a case of, well, watch what you wish for, or will it be a case of history repeating itself? Now, I've been watching the cable news channels, flipping through all of them all day. I've been online monitoring this, and I have yet to see anybody talk about the history of one brutal dictator being thrown out, sometimes murdered, and then an even worse dictator coming in. Assad was a bad man, to say the least. He was a brutal, bloodthirsty dictator, used poison gas on his own people, murdered who knows how many people, and it's good that he's gone. But will they go from the frying pan into the fire? And how does it affect our allies in the Middle East, Israel, Jordan, and others who share borders along there, Turkey? How does this affect the whole region, not just our allies? Not all of them are our friends. We have a group HTS in control now. This is a spinoff of Al-Qaeda and ISIS, the guy who's in charge of that. So is it going to be worse for the people of Syria? I know it's going to be worse for the Christians and Jews in Syria. And this also echoes now the failure of the Barack Obama administration with the 3 times he told Syria and Putin not to cross those red lines, and each time they did, and each time nothing happened. On one side of the globe, we have the Biden administration trying to get us into World War III with China, Ukraine, and Russia. And just out of the blue, although they've been in civil war for 13 years, Syria has, this thing just sneaks up. Within the last 2 weeks, this has happened. So it's pretty incredible. 2 weeks ago, if someone would have said Assad will not be the dictator in Syria, in 2 weeks, would you believe that? Everybody would have said no, but now it has happened. Take a look back in history. The Mujahideen, okay, what were they? Okay, they're a bunch of Islamists. They were a coalition of Islamist militant groups. They fought against the Soviet Union. This is, from the late 70s into the early 90s, okay? The Mujahideen gave birth to Al-Qaeda. So there you have it. And now we have an Al-Qaeda guy in charge in Syria. So it makes you wonder. Think back. It's different factions. Think back to Iran. They wanted to get rid of, in the 70s, the Shah of Iran. They didn't like him. Get rid of him. So they got rid of him. And what did they get? They got the Ayatollah Khomeini and a theocracy. So you're kicking out dictators and you're ending up with worse dictators. People who pretend to be men of faith, men of religion, men of peace. But they're just as brutal as the dictator you just got rid of. Saddam Hussein, another evil, murderous dictator, just like Assad. Out, and what comes in? Huh? We got the mullahs. Not the mullahs. We've got Rouhani in there now. It's incredible. So now we have a situation where the Middle East is teetering on World War III. Forget Ukraine, forget Russia and China and that whole situation. That's nothing compared to what's happening here. And now everybody's got a backer, right? Everybody has someone that they lean on. Assad leaned on Russia. Russia was the protector of Assad. This time, Putin and Russia either chose not to protect him or, more likely, could not protect him because all of their resources are being used in Ukraine. So that is really the connection, the only connection for Ukraine here. China is not going to get involved to help Assad, okay? And on the other side of it, you have Iran and Hezbollah with the situation in Gaza. Another tinderbox waiting to blow. Iran has been weakened by what is going on between Israel and Gaza, because they have put a lot of resources in there to help Hezbollah. I mean, the place is a mess, more than it's been over the last 5,000 years that they have been warring. But there's an old expression, folks. He who ignores history is doomed to repeat it. In Syria, are they ignoring history? They say that this was started by grassroots citizens. They always say that. That's not true. It'll turn out there's going to be somebody behind this who wanted Assad out. If the citizens could have organized and gotten him out, they would have done it, when he got in 24 years ago. So he's been in for 24 years, 13 of which have been civil war. Now he's gone. He's in Moscow. They've allowed him in there. That's the most they could do for him. And now we have this HTS in there with a guy who's linked to Al-Qaeda running the show. So what do you think you're going to get there? What does Al-Qaeda and the Taliban and their ilk bring to the show whenever they show up on the scene? Death and destruction, lack of ability for women to move forward in society, and bloodshed and death. That's all that they do. That's all that they do. Oh, and as an aside, in Saudi Arabia today, they surpassed their record of beheadings. Beheadings. Unbelievable. That's the way they execute people. That's the way they execute criminals in Saudi Arabia. And today they broke their record. Jeez, I'm sure they're proud of that one. Death penalty advocates would love to argue that one, wouldn't they? They complain about us with our chemical injections. Unbelievable. But here we are. We are teetering on the brink of war around the world. Donald Trump, the president-elect, said, "We will not get involved in this. This is not our fight. Let it play out." Joe Biden, who seems to be dedicated to start leaving Donald Trump with some type of international conflict, is talking about possibly helping out in the region. Now, just to give you a brief history, our interests in Syria lie to the north, okay, where we have been protecting the Kurds over the border. Donald Trump removed our what they call peacekeepers out of there, but they're really troops. Excuse me. They're really troops. They call them peacekeepers because they don't want to say we have boots on the ground. And Donald Trump removed them out. Joe Biden put them back in. There was no reason for him to put them back in, but he put them back in because this was during the time where he was just going against everything that Donald Trump had put into play. If Donald Trump did it, just reverse it, even if it's good for the world, good for the people. So he put the people back. So we have about 900 people up there in the north. What are they going to be doing? Okay. In the next 3 to 4 to 5 days, this situation is so volatile that who is in control now, HTS, it's a terrorist organization, it's a terrorist affiliated group, might not be in control tomorrow. They might not be in control the next day, or they may be for the next 10 years. We just don't know. I'm sure there's a lot of political wrangling going on, but they're not going to leave now without a fight. How did this happen? The world is celebrating the end of a bloodthirsty dictatorship, as they should. Again, I'm no fan of Assad. The guy's a killer. And he inherited it from his father. It's one of those things. He's a Nepo baby dictator. Now we have that. But again, is it a case of watch what you wish for? Or history going to repeat itself? Because I keep seeing this cycle over and over and over again, where one dictator is ousted, killed, exiled, whatever, and then the radical Muslim fundamentalist groups come in, and they're worse to the people than the dictator was, if that's possible. But that's what normally has been going on. So what's going to happen here? And it's funny because, again, I mentioned at the top of the show, I haven't heard anybody on TV or online, maybe since, I've kind of turned off the TV and got into laser focus on what I'm going to be talking about. Maybe someone has mentioned it. But recent history should be a teacher to people in the region, to people in the world, that, hey, Assad's a bad guy, but he's gone. Every Christian and every person of the Jewish faith and other faiths, anybody who's not Muslim basically, is now probably going to be killed. There's going to be refugees heading over to the European continent because given what's going on in Israel and Gaza, heck, Jordan and the rest can't take any more. They've got so many from there. So people are going to be starting to head to Europe. I heard one analyst from the UK predict. But now Europe is flooded. Migrants coming up from Africa. This is why over the years when we have been saying secure your borders, don't let illegals in, not just to the United States, but to Germany and to Italy and England and all the other places over in that neck of the woods. This is why. Now, there is no place for these people to go. So either they're going to go to unfair conditions or they're going to be slaughtered. What happens there? Israel steps in now, and they've bombed Damascus. There's a 50-year peace deal ends. Benjamin Netanyahu is happy that Assad is gone, as the world is happy that Assad is gone. But I don't think he realizes what this means for him. He's right there. He's right next door. I mean, this puts Israel in danger. Assad had chemical weapons. They're on the brink of possible nuclear weapons there. No one really knows. Definitely the chemical weapons, because he's used those. The media is looking at, Assad's car collection, and they're all taking his cars and driving them all over the place. Big deal. The chemical weapons. What else did he have? How close to nukes were they? It's unbelievable. You don't want this in the hands of Taliban, Al-Qaeda, HTS. Terrorists are terrorists, no matter what their names are. So while Netanyahu is celebrating, he who laughs last laughs best, and you might not want to be dancing too gingerly on the grave of Assad, because this could make it worse. You have a neighbor you don't get along with, and now you got a neighbor that really hates you and wants to kill you. Isn't it better just to have the neighbor that you ignore? And of course, you have the United States protection on that. So it's unbelievable how this has happened and how it has transpired so fast. I mean, we've never seen the downfall of somebody in modern times go this quickly. Usually it's brewing. As I said, this civil war has been going on for 13 years. And now this is where we're at. Where do we go from here? It's a pivotal time because the United States, who normally, and I feel too much, gets involved in the world's affairs, is in a transition period. We have one leader who seemingly, the outgoing president, seemingly would like to get involved, and we have the incoming president who has made it clear it is not our fight. He doesn't want any part of it. So one thing that worries me about this, aside from everything I just told you, is you should really care. And Americans traditionally do not care about situations such as this because we tend to think it doesn't affect us. Well, it does. Look back to the Iranian hostage situation. Look at the thorn on our side that Iran has been for the last 45 years. Look at Afghanistan. Everybody cheered when Russia failed and had to pull out of Afghanistan. And then that led straight to 9/11, right? Think about it. As I said earlier in the show, the Mujahideen, which gave birth to Al-Qaeda and the Taliban. Think about that. So if you think this stuff doesn't affect you, it does. It might take a little while to get there, but it certainly does affect you, and it is never a positive thing. So back to the refugee issue. Where are the Christian, Jewish, and other people of other faiths going to go? Where are they even going to be able to get out of Syria? Okay? This group of terrorist militants has proven very bold and very efficient in getting into the capital and getting Assad to flee to Moscow. But can they govern? Probably not. I don't think there's many leadership skills there when it comes to governing a country that is, let's see, I lived in Seattle for 6 years, and Syria is roughly the size of the state of Washington, okay? So if you look out to the West Coast, up there in the Pacific Northwest in the corner, look on your map on Google and you'll see it. It's about that size. And Washington State, it's a huge state. I mean, you drive from Seattle to the west all the way to Spokane in the east and cross into Coeur d'Alene, Idaho. You know, it's going to take you a while. So it's a vast region, and this is mostly desert. Imagine Assad going from desert, even though it's cooler now, to Moscow. Boy, and that is super cold. So where does this go from here? What does the United States do? Should we get involved, or should we stay out, as Trump says? I have been saying for many years that I don't like us being the world's police, and I'd like to know what you think, the listeners of 1210 WPHT. 855-839-1210. My name is Lou Pate. You're listening to the Talk of Philadelphia, 1210 WPHT.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm. An important message about your timeshare from Chuck McDowell, founder of Wesley Financial Group.
If you receive an unsolicited phone call or mail piece to discuss selling, renting, or especially canceling your timeshare, don't fall for it. Contact your timeshare resort or Wesley Financial Group for assistance, and I'll send you our timeshare exit information kit free with the straight facts about timeshare cancellation.
Call 800-408-4040. That's 800-408-4040.
At PGW, safety is essential to delivering clean, reliable natural gas to Philadelphia homes and businesses. If you smell gas, call PGW at 215-235-1212.
As a business owner, you wear a lot of hats. One minute you're ordering today's inventory, and the next you're planning tomorrow's expansion. It's complicated, but your business credit card should be simple. With the Signify Business Cash Card by Wells Fargo, you earn unlimited 2% cash rewards on purchases for your business, with no caps or categories to track. Signify Business Cash, the deliberately simple business credit card. Learn more at wellsfargo.com/signify. Terms apply.
In Virginia Beach, our locals live the life every day. The art of living the life starts by connecting with what matters most: happiness. When you visit, you will realize that happiness is a real place and that it is here in Virginia Beach.
Listen, here's the secret to your holiday savings. Ready? You can get gifts starting at just $3.99. Toys from Disney, Mattel, Barbie, Sonic, Looney Tunes, Fisher-Price, Play-Doh, Nerf, Hot Wheels, and more. You can put a bow on these brands and won't break the bank. Adidas, Champion, Puma, Reebok, Converse, True Religion, DKNY, and Levi's are all at prices so low, they're basically a gift. The savings are hiding at You can put a bow on these brands and won't break the bank.
Be prepared with CHIP, free or low-cost healthcare for Pennsylvania kids and teens. From checkups to unexpected bumps and bruises and everything in between, CHIP has you covered. Don't wait until you need it. Be prepared with CHIP. Because every kid deserves quality healthcare and every parent deserves peace of mind knowing their kids are covered. CHIP, free or low-cost healthcare for kids and teens under age 19. Learn more at chipcoverspakids.com.
Paid for with Pennsylvania taxpayer dollars.
California Psychics is the real deal. They helped me out, totally changed my attitude, totally got me psyched to start my business and to take a new path in my life.
At California Psychics, customers like Jeremy trust us to connect them with only the best. In fact, we reject 98% of the psychics who apply to us. So we guarantee if your reading isn't life-changing, it's free.
I feel like she really kind of made a connection with me. She knew something about my personality, knew a little bit about me. Now I'm really confident about getting out there and just getting it done.
Right now, new customers receive 20 minutes for just $20. That's a real deal you don't want to miss. So join Jeremy and experience the joy of certainty at CaliforniaPsychics.com. Get insights on the go. Download the California Psychics app today.
Don't go through another winter spending your hard-earned money on high heating costs or wrapped in the blankets on a couch as cold air comes rushing through your old drafty windows and doors. Upgrade your home with professionally installed energy-efficient windows and doors from my good friends at Guida Door and Window. Guida is celebrating the holidays with their big end-of-year sales event. Get 40% off each window you buy. Yep, 40% off every professionally installed window. You'll also receive 40% off any door, including entry doors, patio doors, garage doors, and storm doors. And don't worry about touching your holiday money because Guida will start your project with no money down and allow you to pay it off interest-free for up to 12 months. If you need new windows and doors, then you need to go Guida right now so you can take advantage of these huge savings. All prior sales excluded. Offer expires December 31st. So call Guida today to schedule a free in-home estimate at 877-GO-GUIDA or visit them at GoGuida.com. That's go, GUIDA.com.
Uh-oh, Brad's buzzed.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, he's starting with the woots. And now a speech.
I just want to say that friendship is about heart and brain. Who's with me?
Good thing is, he knows when he's buzzed.
And my brain is saying, when it's time to go home, somebody call me a ride.
Love that guy.
Me too.
Know your buzzed warning signs? Call for a ride when it's time to go home. Buzz driving is drunk driving. A message from NHTSA and the Ad Council.
Most of us don't fit in the clothes we wore 30 years ago. And financial advice from 30 years ago doesn't fit either. Tune in to the Retirement Spectrum with Alan Cohen. Saturdays at 3 on Talk Radio 1210 WPHT.
Be sure to follow Talk Radio 1210 WPHT on the free Odyssey app. Download it now.
Welcome back, 1210 WPHT. Lou Pate here with you. You can't see my hair, which is down to my waist, is snapping head back and forth, heavy metal style. Great choice, Justin. By the way, Justin's producing the show, Justin Otero. Always great to work with him. We haven't worked in a while. I told him as far as bumper music, I said, anybody's nodding out in front of that radio, give him something where my boot comes out of the radio and kicks him in the forehead. You certainly answered the call on that, my friend. Great job. We're talking about Syrian rebels taking over in Syria as President Assad has been toppled. He has fled to Moscow. He is alive. It's not going to be like El Duce back at the end of World War II, hanging in the center of town with people throwing rocks at him, or Saddam Hussein being hung, or a fake Hitler body being found burned somewhere. So we have now what is turning out to be a very important point in history for the world, but also for the Middle East, that is going to set the tone for generations to come. Everybody thought that was going to be the situation between Israel and Gaza, but while that is important because it has drained resources from Hezbollah and Iran, just like Ukraine has drained resources from Russia, who usually protects Syria, it's really going to dictate what's going on. And you've heard the joke, you see it on stupid romantic comedy movies and sitcoms. It's like, you've caught me in a transitional period, things of that nature. I think that was Pulp Fiction, right? That wasn't stupid. That was good. Samuel L. Jackson's character wasn't going to kill someone. He goes, and you're lucky because you caught me in a transitional period. They have caught the United States in a transitional period. Now, we normally, not only do we stick our nose in situations such as this, we usually cause situations as this. Since approximately 1953 and 1954, the United States has been involved in 88 countries turning over their power. We have forced it in order to put in our puppets. It started with the Shah of Iran back in the 50s, and he got ousted in 1979, and that's when the Ayatollahs came in, and Iran has been a nightmare ever since. We do not want to repeat history again just like this. We are ignoring history. I said it 3 times during the monologue, but the world is not paying attention. I should be invited to one of those Bilderberg moves over there where they dictate everything that's going to be going on for the next few years. man, it's like no one pays attention. So now, with the fall of Assad, you are looking at the end from which Iran and Russia have really dictated what happens across the Arab world. Because Moscow propped up Assad for the whole 24 years he was there. Now, no one saw this coming. The overthrow is like instantaneous almost, like someone flipped a switch. It's supposed to be like a Turkish-backed revolt with roots in Sunni. Who knows? We'll find out. That's likely to change. It's too early to even tell. But what anybody in the United States government cares about is stability in the region and how it's going to affect our allies in the region, because how our allies are affected in the region affects us here. And again, there's more in the world, folks, beyond America. I love our country. It is the greatest country in the world. There is nothing like it anywhere else, okay? But in all of these other places, things that happen there affect us, and it tends to be negative, whether it's oil and our prices of oil going through the roof, whether it's war, and whether it's these crazies who come over here and want to kill us, like with 9/11. This all started with conflicts such as this. You know, when in 1992, when the final Russian general crossed the bridge out of Afghanistan, riding on top of that tank, it was a big photo op. It was a big media whoop-de-doo, and the world cheered because it was the Cold War, and Russia had been defeated. If I was to tell you that that moment was the starting point for what would culminate in 9/11, well, you wouldn't have believed me, but you would have said, no, go back, Russia, and defeat these people. Because Russia winning in Afghanistan, although it would have, made things in that region more difficult for us, would not have given birth to all of these terrorist organizations such as the Taliban, Al-Qaeda, ISIS, now HTS, which is a new one on the scene. So, again, it's unbelievable that this is going on and it's happening again. And I don't like what Assad did. If Obama, when he was president, had any backbone, Assad would have been out of there. If Obama would have stood up to Putin, which he didn't on 3 different occasions, this wouldn't be happening today. The failures of the Obama administration are a direct result of what we are seeing here today. There's no way to get around that. Because when Obama didn't stand up to Putin, by the way, you didn't hear anybody saying Obama's an asset of Putin. No, he just had no backbone. He had no power. He didn't want to use the power he had. He was the most powerful man in the world. So the world is cheering Assad because no one is looking forward, and most certainly no one is looking back. Again, at the risk of being redundant, Iran, Iraq, Afghanistan, and Russia. Each time the worst people in history, probably top 10, all these people were removed, who would think that it got worse? And it did. And we don't know where this is going. We really have no idea. We, the United States, can't afford to get involved. We do not have the manpower. We do not have the munitions because we gave them all to Ukraine. Did you know that the Biden administration is looking at giving yet another $1 billion to Ukraine? They are going to try to squeeze as much, because it's a money laundering operation. We all know what that's about. They're going to try to squeeze as much money through that system before they leave, before the Trump administration comes in, before they get out of there. So it's unbelievable. Of course, Joe Biden is taking credit for Assad fleeing to Russia. He had absolutely nothing to do with it. Joe Biden couldn't find Syria on a map unless they're a country that gave him money. But they're looking to give them another $1 billion. They gave them $725 million just last week. Now they want to send another $1 billion in aid? How come Congress can't stop the administration from continuously sending money, as if what they're obviously trying to do? This is a lame duck session, okay? It's, the election happens, and then comes Thanksgiving and Hanukkah and Christmas and New Year's, and then Martin Luther King Day, and then we have a new president. Okay, and during that time period, nothing is really supposed to happen. And the Biden administration is now trying to put in as many radical judges as they can, push as much money as they can into Ukraine because it's coming back to Democrats on the other side, and possibly start 2 world wars. They want to make it as difficult and untenable for Donald Trump when he comes in, and no one's even trying to stop them. It is an amazing phenomenon that we have going on here. So that's the latest on that. I just need, I can't make this happen, Americans to care, because in 4 years, 2 years, 3 years, 6 years, who knows when the proverbial chickens come home to roost, and you'll say, well, how did that happen? Who's this HTS? Who's this Jolani? Jolani's the head of HTS. He goes, hey, remember back to late 2024? We talked about this. He who ignores history is doomed to repeat it. 855-839-1210. We'll shift gears when we come back. You are listening to 1210 WPHT.
Virtua Health, real patients, real doctors, real complex cases. Take one.
Open heart surgery, tear in my aorta.
The most complex cases come to us at Virtua Health.
I'm sure I wouldn't have been here without you.
Being a 45-year-old, not being able to walk up one flight of stairs, I had no idea I was in heart failure.
Virtua is a premier heart failure center in South Jersey.
They changed my life. It's truly a blessing.
Want to follow our stories? Go to virtua.org. Virtua Health, here for good.
Don't miss The Education Show with Dom Giordano every Sunday morning at 5:30. Find out how you can help your child or grandchild succeed. Sponsored by New Hope Academy.
I'm Jalen Hurst here for Window Nation. If you're a fan of saving money, listen up.
Right now, save 50% on all window styles. Plus, a bonus 10% off and 0 interest for 6 years. Hurry, sale ends December 31st. Call Window Nation today to schedule your fast, free, in-home estimate or visit windownation.com.
Don't pay more than you have to for new windows. Call 866-90-NATION or visit windownation.com.
Attention! Have you racked up $10,000 or more in credit card debt? Are you barely getting by making minimum payments? With credit card debt reaching all-time highs, National Debt Relief is notifying consumers about significant debt relief options currently being made available to help those with overwhelming credit card debt. These options may reduce a large portion of credit card debt for those who qualify. You don't need to declare bankruptcy or take out a consolidation loan, and you may only have to pay back a fraction of what you owe, even if you have bad credit. National Debt Relief has already reduced the credit card debt for more than 550,000 consumers, so don't wait. If you owe $10,000, $20,000, or even $100,000 in credit card debt, you can now take advantage of this financial debt relief as the cost of living continues to skyrocket. To check what debt reduction you may qualify for, call 800-885-9595. 800-885-9595. Again, that's 800-885-9595.
In Virginia Beach, our locals live the life every day. The art of living the life starts by connecting with what matters most. Happiness. When you visit, you will realize that happiness is a real place and that it is here in Virginia Beach.
You're listening to Leaf Filter Radio, and the guru of gutter protection himself, Chris Coonahan, is here to take your most pressing leaf-related questions.
Hey, everybody, Chris here. I understand we have Ron on the line. Ron, where are you calling from?
Uh-oh. Ron, are you calling from a ladder?
Well, I was. I wanted to ask Chris what I need to do to get my gutters ready to have Leaf Filter installed.
Oh, Ron, you don't have to do anything. A Leaf Filter Trusted Pro will come out and clean out your gutters, realign and seal your gutters, and install Leaf Filter, America's #1 gutter protection system.
So I didn't need to get on this ladder?
Ron, Leaf Filter Trusted Pros are in your neighborhood and ready to help. Just visit leaffilter.com/gutter to schedule your free gutter inspection and get up to 30% off.
Thank goodness. What was that site?
That's leaffilter.com/gutter for your free gutter inspection today. See representative for warranty details. Promotion is 20% off plus a 10% senior or military discount. 1 discount per household.
Hey, Ambler. We know your favorite station is Talk Radio 1210 WPHT. Follow us anywhere on the free Odyssey app.
the bodies burning as the war machine keeps turning. Death and hatred to mankind.
Good war, hitting those skins.
Poisoning their
You're killing me, Justin. You're killing me. War in Syria, overthrow in Syria. Justin's producing the show, doing a great job. Lou Pate here with you, 1210 WPHT, playing one of my all-time favorite songs. Oh, man. Best live version of that, if you want to check that out, is Paris 1970. Somebody wrote in the comments once, I saw this years ago, Bill Ward beats those drums like the drums owed him money. But, oh, man, that was before my time, but I got into all of that stuff when I was a kid, man. That early Black Sabbath stuff. Oh, it's just fantastic. And the song War Pigs, very poignant. If you look back on the generals causing war but never having to go fight. It's an incredible song. It's got a great riff, too. So, yeah, I love that. Yeah, as soon as I heard that, I said, boy, he's picking music. I'm never going to get back to what I wanted to talk about. I'm just going to start rocking out. I should do a music show. We'll talk to Stalker about that. Imagine that. Anyway, we were going to shift gears here, but if you wanted to comment, I always leave the phones open for whatever topic I've already discussed. Because, hey, don't go by my schedule. I'll go by your schedule. You're the bosses. You're the listeners. So something that you heard that you weren't near a phone, 855-839-1210. Right now it is a, let's just say, fluid, is an understatement, situation in Syria. There is leadership of a terrorist group, and that's about it. Looting is going on. God only knows what else is happening there. And there will be instability there for quite a while, but the next 3 to 5 days will tell the tale. In the meantime, as I said earlier in the show, we are in a transition period here with a president-elect and also a lame duck president who's trying to start a war. And you would think that the media would have learned, or maybe they didn't get the memo, maybe they don't know of the internet, but Donald Trump won the election, okay? And I was watching some guests today on News Nation, which, by the way, it's a great channel, I have to say. I have been enjoying it. But it was just like the Democratic strategist who's Donald Trump, knows nothing about international diplomacy. It's like, and I to the host's credit, I didn't know who the host was, but a young guy. Hey, why am I hearing myself there? Hey, Justin, can you hear that? Hey, Justin, can you hear me, Justin?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Hey, Justin, can you hear me? I don't know, because I'm hearing myself, and I'm just hearing an echo. Anyway, there was a Democratic strategist there, and he was saying Trump doesn't know anything about international diplomacy, and the host, to his credit, said, what about the Abraham Accords? So he just threw it right back in his face. But Trump was interviewed by Kristen Welker, and she was implying to him that the nation is divided because of him. And that is just not true. Let's play cut number 3, please, Justin.
Sir, I don't have to tell you this because you've talked about it. It comes at a time when the country is deeply divided. And now you're going to be leading this country for the next 4 years. For the sake of unifying this country, will you concede the 2020 election and turn the page on that chapter?
No. No, why would I do that? But let me just tell you, when you say the country is deeply divided, I'm not the president. Joe Biden's the president.
But you're going to be the president.
No. I'm not the president. So when you say it's deeply divided, I agree. But Biden's the president, I'm not. And he has been a divider. And you know where he divided it more than anything else, and it probably backfired on him, I think definitely, is weaponization. When he weaponized the Justice Department and he went after his political opponent, me. He went after his political opponent violently because he knew he couldn't beat him. And I think it really was a bad thing. And it really divided our country.
Sir, Democrats have control of the White House now. They didn't in 2020. If they are going around stealing elections, why
when you
didn't
say
they
Democrats
do it
have control now
of the White House?
Yeah.
So why didn't they steal this election? Since they have more power now.
Because I think it was too big to rig.
Okay, sorry about that, folks, because we're having a little bit of a technical difficulty there. I wasn't able to hear that audio. My apologies to that. We're going to take a quick break. We're going to reset, and then we'll come back right here on 1210 WPHT.
As a doctor, I see patients every day who are losing their vision and independence to age-related macular degeneration, also known as AMD. It's the leading cause of blindness in adults 55 and older. Some of us are at greater risk for AMD. If you have blurry vision or blind spots, they can be symptoms of AMD. If left untreated, it can lead to blindness. The good news, with early detection, AMD can be managed with effective clinically approved treatments that can reduce or even reverse some vision loss. Learning that you have AMD can be scary, but there's hope and help. The Foundation Fighting Blindness is researching and developing treatments and cures for AMD. To get your free AMD information packet, contact the Foundation Fighting Blindness today at 1-800-BLINDNESS. That's 1-800-BLINDNESS. Join the fight against AMD because together there is a cure in sight.
My name's Michaela. I joined the Army at 17. When I got back from Iraq a few years ago, I became pregnant and ended up homeless.
No veteran should ever face homelessness. The U.S. Department of Veterans Affairs is working hard to end veteran homelessness by the end of 2015. VA offers programs to help eligible veterans stay healthy, find a job, and secure or maintain safe, stable housing. With a simple call to 877-424-3838, specialists can connect veterans to the services and support they have earned, regardless of their branch or era of service.
My life works now. I got help from VA, and now I'm on a mission to share these resources.
VA is here to help. If you or a veteran you know is homeless or at immediate risk of becoming homeless, call 877-424-3838 or chat online at va.gov/homeless.
It is with great pleasure that I welcome you to today's graduation ceremony. Students, when you hear the reason or reasons for your absences throughout the years, please exit the auditorium without your high school diploma. Once you've exited, remove your cap and gown and proceed into the unknown. Too tired. Family trip. Part-time job. Helping around the house. Sick day. Starting the holidays early. Just because.
Starting in the 6th grade, students who miss 18 days or more of school in a year for any reason will fall behind and risk not graduating high school. How many days of school has your child missed this year? Absences add up. Keep track at boostattendance.org today. Brought to you by the U.S. Army and the Ad Council.
Cards for Kids. KARS Cards for Kids. 1-877 Cards for Kids. Donate your card today.
1-877 Cars for Kids. KARS Cars for Kids. 1-877 Cars for Kids. Donate your car today.
Also on the web at carsforkids.com. That's cars with a K. We're a recognized 501c3 charity organization, so you'll receive a maximum tax deduction. What's more, you'll receive a free vacation voucher of 3 days and 2 nights.
1-877 Cars for Kids. KARS Cars for Kids. 1-877 Cars for Kids. Donate your car today.
Free speech lives here with Rich Zioli weekday afternoons 3 till 7 on Odyssey's #1 talk station, 1210 WPHT.
Apologies for the technical problem there. Sometimes technology is always not your friend, but when you work with producer Justin Otero, you need not fear, and he wraps it up and fixes the problem in a matter of moments. So thank you there for Justin for that one, because I had no idea what was going on. It was all out of whack. But we're back up on track here. Appreciate the hard work there, Justin. We were talking about Donald Trump talking with NBC's Kristen Welker, and it seems the mainstream media didn't get the memo that he has won the election. We're going to replay. I know you guys heard it, but I didn't hear it, even though I've heard it like 100 times today. This is NBC's Kristen Welker implying that Trump has divided the nation. He turns the table on her, too. It's a little long. It's 1 minute and 20 seconds, but it's worth the listen, especially for what he says about the 2020 election at the end. Cut number 3, please, Justin.
Sir, I don't have to tell you this because you've talked about it. It comes at a time when the country is deeply divided. And now you're going to be leading this country for the next 4 years. For the sake of unifying this country, will you concede the 2020 election and turn the page on that chapter?
No. No. Why would I do that? But let me just tell you, when you say the country is deeply divided, I'm not the president. Joe Biden's the president.
But you're going to be the president.
No. I'm not the president. So when you say it's deeply divided, I agree. But Biden's the president. I'm not. And he has been a divider. And you know where he divided it more than anything else, and it probably backfired on him, I think definitely, is weaponization. When he weaponized the Justice Department and he went after his political opponent, me. He went after his political opponent violently because he knew he couldn't beat him. And I think it really was a bad thing. And it really divided our country.
Sir, Democrats have control of the White House now. They didn't in 2020. If they are going around stealing elections, why
when you
didn't
say
they do it
Democrats
this
have
time?
control now
Of the White House.
Yeah.
So why didn't they steal this election? Since they have more power now.
Because I think it was too big to rig.
So you won't.
Too big to rig.
Too big to rig. He just, it's brilliant. He just turns the tables on. I'm not the president, he says to her. Joe Biden is the president. If the nation, and he agrees with her, if the nation is divided, it's because of Joe Biden. I mean, it's almost like they have forgotten all of the horrible things from the deadly withdrawal and embarrassing withdrawal from Afghanistan to the crime in our cities, to the inflation and the economy. It's like they forgot about all of that. The only thing that is still in a positive is Wall Street, because that's the only thing they never got around to touching. Remember, they were talking about changing interest rates on capital gains. They never got around to doing that, and that's the only reason Wall Street, the Dow and the S&P are thriving. But then she asks him about 2020. Now, you remember here on Talk Radio, not WPHT, but around the nation, I've fill in all over the place. You weren't allowed to talk about whether the vaccine didn't work. You weren't allowed to say that the 2020 election was stolen. Not even a spirited discussion, not even a debate. You weren't allowed to say it. I mean, it was censorship on our TV stations, on the internet, everybody, talk radio, everywhere. You just weren't allowed to say it. It was never properly investigated. And she says, well, if they stole it last time, why didn't they steal it this time? Too big to rig. And then she's like, and he's too big to rig. He just shuts her down. And she's like, The most fascinating part of that exchange is when he says too big to rig the first time, there's like a 3-second pause because she doesn't know what to say. And then she's trying to come back with something, and he just, too big to rig. He just says it again because it was too big to rig. You have, if you look at the numbers, from the early 2000s, from 2004, 2008, 2012, 2016, the Democratic nominees always got between 65 and 69 million votes. Whether they won or whether they lost, whether it was Kerry who lost or whether it was Obama who won twice or whether it was Clinton who lost once, they always got between 65, 69 million votes, okay? Makes sense. So then you get to 2020, and he gets 81 million votes. And we're told that this was organic and this was real. Everybody knew it wasn't. Flash ahead to 2024, and it's confirmed. Because where did those millions of votes go? What did Harris get? Something like 66 or 69, 68, whatever. Nowhere near 81. She didn't even hit 70. So where did those 11, 12, 13, 14 million votes go? What? They just didn't vote? They didn't vote for anybody? It's because they never existed. the 2020 election was stolen. But the interview goes on with Welker again, who, again, seemingly did not get the memo about that Trump won the election, and that ever since he won the election, things have been going pretty good for him. I mean, a couple of questionable cabinet picks, in my opinion. He obviously didn't ask my opinion on that. Let's see. If we get Pete Hegseth as the head of Department of Defense, Secretary of Defense, does everybody have to wear stupid socks? Please. Well, in this one, this clip is a little long, too. It's 74 seconds. It's you have Welker again and Trump criticizing FBI Director Wray. Cut number 4, please, Justin.
Are you going to fire the current FBI Director, Christopher Wray, who you appointed?
Well, I can't say I'm thrilled with him. He invaded my home. I'm suing the country over it. He invaded Mar-a-Lago. I'm very unhappy with the things he's done. And crime is at an all-time high. Migrants are pouring into the country that are from prisons and from mental institutions, as we've discussed. I can't say I'm thrilled. I don't want to be Joe Biden and give you an answer and then do the exact opposite.
We're going to talk about that.
I'm not going to do that. What I'm going to say is I certainly cannot be happy with him. You take a look at what's happened. And then when I was shot in the ear, he said, oh, maybe it was shrapnel. Where's the shrapnel coming from? Is it coming from heaven? I don't think so. So we need somebody to straighten. I have a lot of respect for the FBI, but the FBI's respect has gone way down over the last number of years.
Don't you have to fire him in order to make room for Kash Patel if he is, in fact, confirmed?
Well, I mean, it would sort of seem pretty obvious that if Kash gets in, he's going to be taking somebody's place, right? And somebody is the man that you're talking about.
There you have it. I mean, he just put it out there. I'm not very happy with him. These people have no problem with the way Donald Trump and his family were treated. They invaded my home, he said. I mean, think about that. He even left out the part that the standard, shoot to kill if necessary was left on there as well. And then what he also didn't talk about was that Jack Smith then fabricated evidence. Remember that picture of all the folders on the floor that had said top secret, super top secret, whatever it was? Those were just folders with stuff in them. The cover sheets that said top secret were fabricated. They actually falsified evidence against Trump, and the media ran with it. And this was Jack Smith until the election was fighting to bring this case to trial when it was already known that he fabricated evidence. How come he's not being charged? That's a corrupt lawyer. Unbelievable. Yet Kristen Welker and NBC, they have absolutely no problem with this type of illegal behavior. Boggles your mind. Makes you wonder what the next 4 years are going to be like. All right, we'll take a quick break. Lou Pate with you. Matt Rooney Show, 1210 WPHT.
We all hear the radio ads about the IRS. They tell you to be afraid, to be scared, and they try to frighten you into calling. I'm not here to do that. Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000, $50,000, or $500,000, we have a solution. It doesn't matter if you're sitting in your car, at work, or with your kids. No matter where you are, call now. 800-575-6986. Don't lose hope. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS.
Generous programs are now available that can give you a fresh start.
Our passion is taxes and helping individuals fix their IRS problems.
We have over 1,000 5-star reviews on Google and an A+ with the Better Business Bureau.
You don't need to be afraid of the IRS any longer. End your tax nightmare today by visiting us online at TRA.com
or call 800-575-6986. That's 800-575-6986.
Tax Relief Advocates. Real solutions for real people.
When you need to know, depend on KYW News Radio 103.9 FM.
People celebrate in Syria as rebels overthrow President Bashar al-Assad's government. The NYPD keeps scouring for clues left behind by the gunman who killed the CEO of United Healthcare. The Eagles make history, tying a franchise best 9 straight wins, defeating the Carolina Panthers at home. Final score 22-16.
Get the latest anytime on KYW News Radio. Now on Crystal Clear 103.9 FM.
You've never needed us more.
Hey, Trish Zioli. So I was thinking the other day about how many people would love to have access to my browsing history. All the data that I'm looking at. I mean, this is a crazy time in which we live. People love to profile you, but I don't have to worry about any of that because I've got Privacy Pro from DuckDuckGo, and I use their secure VPN, and this keeps my data encrypted no matter where I am, when on the road. It doesn't matter. I'm going to give you a 30-day free trial by going to DuckDuckGo.com/1210. DuckDuckGo.com/1210. Privacy Pro for less than $10 a month. You get that VPN to secure and encrypt your data on any Wi-Fi network anywhere, even at home from your internet service provider. You're also going to get personal identity theft restoration if, God forbid, somebody steals your identity, and personal data removal. They're going to keep scanning, finding your data, and removing it for you. That's incredibly important. All that for $10 a month. Are you kidding me? You got to have this in this day and age. So go to DuckDuckGo.com/1210 and sign up today for a free 30-day trial. DuckDuckGo.com/1210.
'Tis the season for Tasty Cake. That chill in the air means it's time to snag those limited edition Tasty Cake treats. Enjoy your favorite holiday flavors like Frostbite donuts and salted caramel cheesecake pies, or warm up the family with some hot chocolate and mint chocolate candy cakes. Hurry over to your local store right now to stock up on the best flavors of the season, because the holidays aren't complete without your favorite Tasty Cake treats. Grab these treats before the season ends and make today tasty with Tasty Cake. Accept no substitutes.
I'm Michael Toscano. With Syrian leader Bashar al-Assad deposed by rebel forces and in exile in Russia, the Pentagon says U.S. air forces have struck more than 75 Islamic State targets in Syria. The purpose, to keep the Islamic State from reasserting itself in the aftermath of the regime change.
The key leader of Syria's armed opposition, Abu Muhammad al-Jalani, who belongs to a group known as Hayat Tahrir al-Sham, which used to be aligned with al-Qaeda, has said he wants a peaceful transition of power, but the power vacuum left by Bashar al-Assad is enormous. So amid the celebrations, there's also a deep sense of uncertainty among many Syrians.
That's CBS News foreign correspondent Imtiaz Tayeb. Israel's Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu welcomes Assad's ouster, but has a warning.
This is a historic day for the Middle East. The collapse of the Assad regime, the tyranny in Damascus, offers great opportunity, but also is fraught with significant dangers.
It's been a busy few days for President-elect Donald Trump, as CBS News correspondent Nicole Killian tells us.
Fresh off his whirlwind weekend on the world stage, President-elect Donald Trump appeared on NBC's Meet the Press, where he was pressed on his agenda weeks ahead of taking office, from tariffs.
Can you guarantee American families won't pay more?
I can't guarantee anything.
To the border.
Is it your plan to deport everyone who is here illegally over the next 4 years?
Well, I think you have to do it, and it's a very tough thing to do.
The search for United Healthcare CEO Brian Thompson's killer has stretched through a fifth day now. CBS's Chanel Call tells us investigators still have work to do.
Despite police gathering over 200 images of the suspect and offering a substantial cash reward, authorities have not publicly identified the person they believe carried out this vicious and targeted attack.
NYPD divers searched the lake in Central Park today, hoping to find a weapon. There are many celebrities in the nation's capital in town for the annual Kennedy Center Honors. President Biden and First Lady Jill Biden hosted a reception for honorees at the White House this evening.
Throughout our nation's history, artists in America have used their talents to inspire and empower, to overcome, to challenge power freely and without fear, and to be a link in memory between the past and the future. It matters.
Honorees include film director Francis Ford Coppola, the Grateful Dead singer and guitarist Bonnie Raitt, and jazz trumpeter and pianist Arturo Sandoval, and the Apollo Theater in Harlem. The event will air on CBS December 22nd. This is CBS News.
Power up the holiday and give a gift from the top of their wish list. Visit your local Steel dealer today or shop online at steelusa.com. That's STIHLUSA.com.
WPHT HD3 Philadelphia. From the Cherry Hill Volvo Studios, where relationships matter. Always live on the free Odyssey app. Live and local with Matt Rooney. On Talk Radio 1210 WPHT.
This is the Matt Rooney Show. Welcome to 1210 WPHT. Lou Pate here with you. Thank you for joining me. Thanks for spending some time here with us. The us is producer Justin. And you, if you're so inclined to take part in the show, at 855-839-1210. Well, there was a murder in New York City. Well, must be a day ending in the letter Y, right? No, but this one has captured international headlines with the murder of Brian Thompson, a United Healthcare CEO, former United Healthcare CEO, now gunned down in front of the Hilton. Now, I grew up in New York City. That corner of 54th Street and 6th Avenue, or as they call it, Avenue of the Americas now, I've walked down in front of that where the murder took place thousands of times, literally thousands of times, especially the 2 years I was involved in the construction and renovation of the Sheraton Hotel, which is just one long block away and around the corner there. So I know it well. In the winter, I have cut through the Hilton lobby, which goes, end to end. You get some warmth there on those windy days. So I know the area like the back of my hand. And I'm fascinated by this because for those of you who listen to me regularly, I'm a true crime nut. Okay, I love true crime. I read all the serial killer novels, all the murder mysteries. I like real true crime. I don't like, this fact and nonfiction. I like the real stuff. Okay. Anyway, so I've gone to when I lived in Seattle, sites with Ted Bundy and the Green River Killer and, Bonnie and Clyde and, you name it. And in New York City or Umberto's where Crazy Joe Gallo was shot. And the list is endless because I've lived all over the country. Wherever there's historic true crime and some that's not so famous, I go and visit the sites. It's just what I do. You read the book, you go there, you look. It's just my thing. Hey, the number one podcast in the nation is a true crime podcast, is it not? So it's something that people are into. Look at the Discovery Eye on TV. It's like Murder Inc. on TV 24 hours a day. But this one, caught on video in the modern era, a man lying in wait, bullets with etched words on them that are critical, that actually copy a book that is critical of the insurance industry. A man getting away on an electric bike, dumps it in Central Park. The backpack found, makes his way up to Port Authority at 178th Street, which, by the way, if you do not know New York City, is a brilliant escape move because the Port Authority hub where all the buses come in from Pennsylvania, New Jersey, and everywhere is at 42nd Street and 8th Avenue. That's the main one. If you're going to look for someone getting out of town, you're going to go there. No one's looking up at 178th Street in Washington Heights. It is bad up there. It's by the George Washington Bridge. It is a bad neighborhood. Yeah. Gentrification. Talk to me about that another time. It is dangerous. No one's going up there. So to use an e-bike, cut through the park, change your jacket, ditch your stuff, come out at 86th Street and Columbus Avenue, get in a cab, and go up to 178th Street, man, he really thought this out. The only other great getaway I could think of is the Son of Sam. I grew up in the Bronx where the Son of Sam sadly killed 3 people and paralyzed 1 young woman. And where he killed these people, right around the corner from my house, is the entrance to the Hutchinson River Parkway. So there's a couple after a date talking in a car. He kills both of them, jumps in his car, gets on the Hutchinson River Parkway. 2 miles later, he's out of New York City into Westchester County. He's in the town of Pelham. A few miles after that, he's into New Rochelle. A few miles into that, he's into Eastchester. A few miles into that, he's into Yonkers where he lives. He's only 6 miles away from the kill scene, and he's 4 jurisdictions away. It was I don't know if he did it on purpose, but it was either brilliant or indirectly brilliant. This guy had this planned out. He made a few mistakes, obviously, by showing his face, by flirting with that girl at the hostel, but this has captured the imagination, not just from a murder, mystery, true crime genre thing, but also the issue of healthcare. The issue of healthcare nationwide. And it has sparked ferocious debates, a lot of ugliness online as well. And I want to go on record as to say that there is no justification for murder, okay? There is no ever justification for murder. And there is an argument to be made about whether healthcare providers and what they're doing is right or wrong. I will have that debate with you. And whether Brian Thompson was, not a nice guy for leading a company that led the industry in denying the most number of claims in 32%. But you don't deserve to be murdered for doing that. I don't condone that. But aside from that, there's the issue of health care in this nation. It's become unaffordable while the health care providers and the insurance companies are raking in hundreds of billions of dollars in profit every year while denying you and I claims. It's incredible what it costs to go to an emergency room. And that's what I'd like to talk to you about here on 1210 WPHT, the cost of health care. Where do you stand on this? I know no one's going to condone murder, but I also have been following this online in different comment sections and chat rooms and social media. And there are a lot of people who don't want this guy to get caught. Fascinating. There are people who say he shouldn't have done it, and they don't condone what he did, but they want him to get away with it. That's a weird setup. And now you had the NYPD searching the pond at 72nd Street at the fountain there. It's called the Bethesda Fountain. I've been there many times, sat and had lunch and coffee there. It's a beautiful fountain. A lot of rock groups used to go there, take pictures for their album covers and promotional photos and things like that because it's got a great backdrop. And so they drained it. They didn't drain. They were looking in that pond possibly for the gun, which is not a regular gun, which is strange to me as well. They said, Justin and I were joking about this earlier when we were doing show prep on the phone, it's a 9mm that they use to euthanize animals, like a veterinarian would use. And it's like, well, what's the difference between a 9mm that can kill a man and a 9mm that can kill an animal? Well, the only difference is that this is not an automatic. It's not a semi-automatic. It's one bullet at a time, reload. One bullet at a time, reload. But still a 9mm. Walks like a duck, quacks like a duck, still a duck. But it's funny that he used this. In my opinion, a lot of what we're seeing from this killer is false flag stuff. What we're seeing from law enforcement is false flag stuff. And what I mean by that is the reason the deny, depose, what was the other one? Oh, gosh, I had it written down here somewhere in my sea of notes. That was the book that was critical of the insurance agency. They had those three words, the title of the book, etched into the bullets. I think that was a ruse to throw them off. I mean, there's a lot of stuff coming out about Brian Thompson. Again, none of it where he deserved to be murdered. About insider trading, and he hasn't lived with his wife for years and things of that nature. So it's really interesting to see, is this going to be something personal and nothing to do with the insurance industry? Or is it going to be something to do with the insurance industry? I don't know. It remains to be seen. The monopoly money that was found in the backpack, what is that symbolic of? There's a lot of theories floating around about that. Change of clothes, the change of jacket in the backpack, we understand why you would do that. In the cab, he allows his eyes to be photographed again. In the hostel, he allowed his whole face to be photographed, yet people at the hostel say even when he was eating, he would, just pull the thing down enough to expose his mouth, stick his food in, and cover it back up. So he was very careful at certain points and very sloppy in others. Not very sloppy, but somewhat sloppy in others. Maybe he thought the hostel didn't have a camera. Maybe he didn't think it recorded, or maybe he didn't think that they would track him down to there. Either way, I don't think the New York City Police Department knows who this guy is. I don't think they have any clue as to his name or anything like that. Mayor Adams, who's a complete buffoon, said, we have his name, but I don't want to let you know what his name is right now because we don't want to tip him off. Well, again, as Justin and I, we had a hearty laugh about that on the phone this afternoon. It's like, if you're the killer you know who you are. And if you hear that law enforcement has your name, well, those are the only two parties in this equation that matter to know your name. It's like, you know they know your name, you know they know who you are, okay? But as a veteran of the true crime genre, I know that that's an old police ploy. It's designed to freak the guy out. Oh my God, they know my name, and hopefully he'll, rush to get away and do something foolish, make a mistake, force him, flush him out in some strange way. But that hasn't happened. In my opinion, I don't think they have his name. Now, I know that our corrupt government has facial recognition software, and they have other ways of finding us that we don't even know exist yet. So when they get a clear picture of his face, like they do in the cab, even though he has the surgical mask on, of his eyes, his eyebrows, even if he had a mask on, they can tell bone structure from under the mask. They have the technology that can do that. And then they run a check, and it runs through passport photos, and it runs through driver's license photos. Heck, it probably runs through college universities and libraries all across the nation. Wherever you get a card with your picture on it, Costco or any place else, it's there. This system is probably scanning it. I almost guarantee it. So, if they had his name, why wouldn't they tell us his name? Think about that. Here's the killer. Here's his name. So somebody who might not be paying attention like the way we all are might say, oh, my God, that's Joe Blow. That's Carl so-and-so. That's Bill, what's his name? And say, I know where he lives. He lives in Boise, Idaho, or something like that. But that's not happening. And the fascinating thing to me is the people who want him to get away. It's like there's people who want him caught, and there's people who want him to get away. It's this thing going on online, and the crux of it is, are you for the insurance companies or are you against the insurance companies? And then there's the other debate going on. It's like, well, what do you think this is? Do you think his wife did it? Do you think it's an angry lover having nothing to do with the wife? Do you think it's business related but nothing to do with the health care insurance and things of that nature? So there's so much that has really resonated with the public and brought the attention to this that people are watching it from all angles. Because honestly, when you look at it, a murder in New York City, it's just another day. Sadly, people are murdered in major cities all over the place, not just New York City, but everywhere. When you have millions of people around, bad things are going to happen. So I love reading this stuff online. To me, it's like a true crime novel that I'm following in real time. I remember as a very small child following, just barely old enough to read, and following the Berkowitz stuff from in my neighborhood, because you could read the letters to Jimmy Breslin, who was a columnist for the Daily News at the time, see pictures of stuff in your neighborhood. Sadly, it was for a horrible reason. See the street names that your street and the streets that you walk down every day going to school being part of the news. And then there was the cat and mouse of it all. Then there was all the different sketches, that were coming out of the Son of Sam, one different than the other. Turns out later there was probably 3 killers. But and Berkowitz being one of them, but the other 2 got away, later killed. NYPD, covered that all up because they just wanted it to all go away. Because let's face it, they looked like fools. They really did. So now we have this one going on, and now after a while, it's a horrendous murder. The sad part about it, which is not spoken of enough, and I probably should have mentioned it earlier, is that this guy had 2 sons. Brian Thompson had 2 little boys. Now, those 2 little boys are going to be raised without their dad. That is probably the biggest tragedy in all of it. Good dad, bad dad, who knows? But these boys who are innocent are not going to be raised with their father. That's sad. Think about that. But you look at the video, we have all of these famous killings going on. We had Bruno, the mafia guy in Philadelphia. We didn't have the killing on film. We just have a picture of him sitting there in the car, which the cops did on purpose for like hours. Do you remember that? I mean, you see it now on the mob documentaries. I wasn't around when it happened. In New York City, you have, Castellano laying there on 46th Street in front of Sparks Steakhouse, and all of the dead mobsters and all of the big hits and all this stuff that happened around New York City and other places, and in Los Angeles and San Francisco with serial killers leaving bodies here and there, all the pictures, but we don't have video of it happening. This one, we have a video of it happening. It's like the technological era has finally caught up with someone putting a hit on someone. So now we just don't have to analyze what happened here and what happened there and go from eyewitness testimony. We have it all on film to analyze as it unfolded and the aftermath, even the getaway. Going past a garbage truck on whatever street that was, as he made his way west. But I'm fascinated by it. I'd like to know if you are. So 855-839-1210. Where do you come down on this? I know nobody condones murder, but the healthcare industry, will this be a call for it to be regulated? They are out of control. You go to the emergency room, it'll cost you $3,000-$4,000 just to get checked up for something. Forget if you have a broken bone and you have to get x-rays, or if you have some heart problem and you need something, quick emergency situation. It's incredible. You hear stories about people going into an emergency room, coming out the next day, $19,000 bill. And this is all because the insurance companies and the doctors and everybody all in cahoots knows that the doctors could basically bill whatever they want. It's a whole cottage industry, and it is designed around you. The more they deny you, the more money they make, because we, the people, have to still continue to pay our bills and pay our premiums, only to many times be denied. The new CEO of United Healthcare is a man by the name of Andrew Whitty. He's a British guy. Why do we have a British guy overseeing one of the biggest healthcare agencies and companies in our country? Well, we're going to hear from him when we come back. So I'd like to know from you, and don't be embarrassed to say, are you rooting for this guy to be caught? Are you rooting for him to get away? Do you think the motive is a love triangle? Do you think it has something to do with the insurance agency? Nothing to do with the insurance agency or some other personal vendetta. Again, there was the insider trading angle that came out. I'd like to hear from you. 855-839-1210, loupate@gmail.com, and on X at Lou Pate Show. You are listening to 1210 WPHT.
Pastor Brad Lacey here, First Baptist Church, Conshohocken. Join us Saturdays for the great message and be blessed. 5 a.m. right here on Talk Radio 1210 WPHT.
Attention Medicaid patients.
If you're on Medicaid, how would you like if your caretaker was your daughter, your son, your grandchild, or your close friend? If you're on Medicaid, Freedom Care allows you to choose who provides your care, and that caregiver will get paid instantly after their shift. Yes, your caregiver will get paid instantly, and it's 100% free to you if you are on Medicaid. Call 267-692-3782 and ask Freedom Care how to get started with care today. No more worrying about getting care from an aide at an agency. Freedom Care helps you choose who you want to take care of you, and that person gets paid. Call Freedom Care at 267-692-3782, 267-692-3782 to get started today. You get a caregiver you know and trust, and they get paid instantly after their shift, and it's free to you. Start now by calling 267-692-3782, 267-692-3782, or go to freedomcare.com.
Listen, here's the secret to your holiday savings. Ready?
More news!
You can get gifts starting at just $3.99. Toys from Disney, Mattel, Barbie, Sonic, Looney Tunes, Fisher-Price, Play-Doh, Nerf, Hot Wheels, and more. You can put a bow on these brands and won't break the bank. Adidas, Champion, Puma, Reebok, Converse, True Religion, DKNY, and Levi's are all at prices so low, they're basically a gift. The savings are hiding at
More news!
You can put a bow on these brands and won't break the bank.
I'm John Morgan of Morgan & Morgan. If you've been injured in a car accident, call America's largest injury law firm. For over 35 years, my mission has been to deliver more for our clients, to deliver more for you. Injured? Visit forthepeople.com for an office near you.
As America's first superhighway, the PA Turnpike has driven innovation by drilling tunnels through mountains, building bridges over valleys, and expanding lanes for 500,000 customers daily. Today, the PA Turnpike is driven to make your trip easier than ever. Open road tolling eliminates the stop and go of traditional tolling, increases safety, and reduces environmental impact. Plus, have even more confidence that you'll arrive on time. Visit paturnpike.com/ORT.
We all hear the radio ads about the IRS. They tell you to be afraid, to be scared, and they try to frighten you into calling. I'm not here to do that. Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000, $50,000, or $500,000, we have a solution. It doesn't matter if you're sitting in your car, at work, or with your kids. No matter where you are, call now. 800-575-6481. Don't lose hope. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS.
Generous programs are now available that can give you a fresh start.
Our passion is taxes and helping individuals fix their IRS problems.
We have over 1,000 five-star reviews on Google and an A+ with the Better Business Bureau.
You don't need to be afraid of the IRS any longer. End your tax nightmare today by visiting us online at TRA.com
or call 800-575-6481. That's 800-575-6481.
Tax Relief Advocates. Real solutions for real people.
It's officially the merry season, and B101, Philly's official Christmas station, is your home for holiday music. Spinning the biggest and best festive tracks all day long, now through Christmas Day. Jingle bell, jingle bell, jingle bell rock. Get your holiday fix on the radio at 101.1 FM. Ask your smart speaker to play B101 Philly, or listen on the go with the free Odyssey app.
In Virginia Beach, our locals live the life every day. The art of living the life starts by connecting with what matters most: happiness. When you visit, you will realize that happiness is a real place, and that it is here in Virginia Beach.
This is a commercial for California Psychics, America's most trusted psychic network. So, if you're waiting for a sign, this is it. No, really, this is it. You won't see your soulmate's face in the clouds or your career path mapped out in your cappuccino foam. This really is it. We could add some dramatic sound effects if you'd like. So what you waiting for? Experience the joy of certainty at CaliforniaPsychics.com.
Calling on Blackwood to follow 1210 WPHT on the free Odyssey app. Download it now.
My music. Welcome back, 1210 WPHT. Headbanging. I do have the hair tied back tonight, Justin, but it makes me want to whip off the hair tie and start swinging it from one end of the room to the other.
Headbanging in spirit.
Exactly. Headbanging in spirit. Hey, listen, I'm just glad it still grows. Let's just put it to you that way, okay?
Oh, trust me, I know what happens when it doesn't.
Once you hit 40, you're glad your hair still grows. We'll just put it that way. Hey, okay. I told you we have the new CEO, Andrew Whitty, not as a guest. We have clips of him. The first clip is what you're supposed to say. Somebody's murdered, so you say you're horrified by the murder and that they were the greatest thing since sliced bread to the industry. But I want you to hear what he has to say. But he's a British guy. Again, why do we have a British guy running? Well, I guess, what the heck? One of you, healthcare in Britain's a mess, okay? It's a universal thing where people are denied or you have to wait 6 months to get a checkup. And now we have a British guy running United Healthcare, and they're in charge of, they're responsible for 32%, the highest of any insurance company, for denying claims. This is Andrew Whitty, the CEO of United Healthcare. Cut one.
I'm sure everybody has been disturbed by the amount of negative and in many cases vitriolic media and commentary that has been produced over the last few days, particularly in the social media environment. And I want to reassure you of a few things. Firstly, we are going to continue to make sure that we put patients, consumers and members first, as we always have done. The mission of this company is truly to make sure that we help the system improve by helping the experience for individuals get better and better. There was nobody who did more to try and advance that mission than Brian Thompson. And there are very few people in the history of the US healthcare industry who had a bigger positive effect on American healthcare than Brian. And we are going to make sure that we not only acknowledge and honor that legacy of Brian, but we will continue it.
See, kind of laying it on there a little thick. Of course, you're horrified by the murder and everybody's upset, and then you thank him for the work that he did. But he's kind of, in my opinion, and you know, feel free to disagree, he's kind of digging in his heels a little bit about, you know, Brian was the best. If this guy murdered him for something to do with that 32% in denied claims, maybe he is the best at making money for the company, but in the eyes of the public, he's not exactly going to be seen as Robin Hood. I'm not saying he did anything illegal, because that's our system. It may be morally repugnant, but it's not legally, it's not unlawful. So, but he seems to be digging in his heels. But then again, we don't know the motive of this. We might not ever know the motive. But there's more to be said from the United Healthcare CEO, Andrew Whitty, who you just heard in this next clip, where he talks about providing safe and appropriate health care, but also guarding against unsafe and unnecessary health care. Now, to be fair, and I am always fair when I am on the air. Can't say that for everybody. And can't say that certainly for a lot of websites. There are some websites where the next clip that I play for you are in print, not providing the part where he says against unsafe and unnecessary health. They're removing the word unsafe. And in my opinion, that's unfair. It takes it out of context. It doesn't really lessen it too much, but it still takes it out of context. We'll let you, the listeners to 1210 WPHT, hear what he has to say and let you decide. Cut number 2, please. Andrew Whitty.
Our role is a critical role, and we make sure that care is safe, appropriate, and is delivered when people need it. And we guard against the pressures that exist for unsafe care or for unnecessary care to be delivered in a way which makes the whole system too complex and ultimately unsustainable. So we're going to continue to make that case. We will continue to do the work we do. And I have never been more proud of this company and our colleagues and what this company does on behalf of people in need across the country. I encourage you to tune out that critical noise that we're hearing right now. It does not reflect reality. It is simply a sign of an era in which we live. What we must do is focus on what we know to be true. And what we know to be true is that the health system needs a company like United Health Group, and it needs people like Brian within it.
To me, it sounds like he's doubling down. Is it a sign of the times that we live in, the vitriol that he is asking people to tune out? It's like almost saying, pay no mind to those people who are objecting or protesting or have concerns. The little people. That's what I take that as. That's my opinion. Am I wrong on that? And tune out the vitriol. No, how's about listening to what people are saying online, sift out the crazies, and focus on the people that are making good points? Like the healthcare system, it's too expensive. And we are paying through the nose every week out of our paychecks. Well, I'm not. I don't have health care, actually, but I'll get to that in a second. And people are paying every week out of their paychecks astronomical amounts, and then when they need it, it's not there. And sometimes it causes people to lose their life. And obviously that's going to tick off a lot of people, their survivors. So to tell people to just tune it out, that's ignorant. And then to say, well, we're just going to keep on doing, and what Brian was working on, 32% denial rate. That's like more than double the next company closest to them. So something's wrong with this picture. People always complain about the oil companies making like $8 billion in profit quarterly. So what about the healthcare insurance companies making like $400 billion yearly? That's more than the oil companies. So does anybody have a problem with that? Again, we don't know the motive. All I know is that anytime I have needed medical assistance, and I'm thankful to say it has not been many times in my life, and anytime I have taken people to the emergency room, you're there, New York City, 19 hours, 24 hours. It's not even worth it. It's crazy. I know people in New York City who drive out of the city to like Westchester County and other counties to go to the hospital so that they'll be seen within a few hours, and even then it takes hours. I was in when I was living in Seattle, I had to take my mom to the emergency room, and we went into Swedish Medical in Ballard. I'll never forget it. There was nobody there. Nobody, not a soul. We were the only ones there. It wasn't, anything life-threatening. It was, you hurt a foot, you had to get it x-rayed. And 3.5 hours we sat in the emergency waiting room waiting after we filled out the paperwork. We are the only ones who are non-staff in the whole building. The place is a ghost town. And it still took 3.5 hours. And online, the last few days since this murder, I have been reading dozens and dozens and stories similar. Oh, I was in the waiting room for 8 hours. I was in the waiting room for 3 hours. I was in the waiting room for 10 hours. And there was only 2 people there. When I lived in Delray Beach, Florida, I had to take someone to the emergency room. We got there 7:30 in the evening. There was one other person in the waiting room. It's a Delray Medical Center. One other person in the waiting room. Okay? We were not seen until after midnight. 4.5 hours of just sitting there. And then finally, I got home at like 3 o'clock in the morning. It was like the most ridiculous thing. What are they doing? You fill out the paperwork, and they tell you, wait, someone will be with you. And you ask like 100 times over 4.5 hours, oh, well, they're tied up right now. With what? There is nobody here. There was one other person, and they're gone. And then you get this crazy bill, like, $10,000, $15,000, $20,000. It is nuts. I mean, if D.C. and the useless politicians there want to start regulating, and I'm against regulation, it's about maybe limits on what can be charged for pharmaceutical devices. But then again, we know that all the politicians, the Democrats and the Republicans, they're in the pocket of the pharmaceuticals. We saw that with the fake COVID pandemic. What was it, in 2021 or something like that? It was 14 new billionaires out of 16 in the nation all came from the pharmaceutical industry. Think about that. What does that really mean? Okay, it means that they're getting rich off of our backs. Again, and I'll have to say this 100 times, we do not know the motive. We might not ever know the motive if they don't catch this guy, which brings me to the other part. What is it? What's your theory on it? What is your theory on why this guy did this? We can only go by the evidence we know, much of which I think is a false flag, leading people to think it's an insurance company thing, which I've been talking about at length. But like I said, it could be a spurned lover. I don't think it's a hired hitman. A hired hitman's not going to use a veterinarian gun. But this is well thought out. There was knowledge of where the victim would be. The hitman or the assassin. It's funny that it's CEO of a big company, so to say he was assassinated. If it was just like some New York dude, some guy, construction worker, accountant, deli worker, the messenger, they would say, he was murdered. Murder on 54th Street, and it would be gone. But, all the aspects of this, I do admit, I'm into it because it is fascinating. But to call it an assassination, I think is a little bit much. It's a murder. It's a typical, everyday American red-blooded murder. And it could be a love triangle. It could be a business dispute. It could be anything. The killer was on the phone moments before the guy came out. There are more people involved in this. It's not just the killer. He was coordinating with someone, either someone who knew the guy's schedule. They're gonna have to check the phone records of Brian Thompson, the murdered guy, to see who did he speak to. Did he speak to someone and say, "Yeah, I'll meet you downstairs for coffee. I'm leaving now." Then that person says, "Whoop," calls up the hitman. "I'm on my way." He's on his way. He's coming down now. This was so coordinated that it's not just one angry person sitting outside of a hotel room hoping that this guy is going to appear at 6:46 a.m. It's just not the way it works. Because if you're going to sit there waiting for someone to come down, you could be sitting there all day. He could go out another exit. He can come down the elevator and not leave the building because his conference wasn't until 8 o'clock. He could have gone into a restaurant, into a diner, and had breakfast there or something. So more than the killer are in on this. The police know that. That's very obvious. You can figure that out just by the single fact that the guy is on the phone. He wasn't exactly calling an Uber. He had the electric bike waiting. So it's one of these things that you think this might not affect you, but it does. Because when it comes to health care, when it comes to the cost, and in most cases, the unaffordable cost of health care, most people, you have to have it, but you can't really afford it. As I said before, I don't even have health care. I'm freelance. I don't work for Odyssey. I don't work for WPHT. So I don't get my health insurance through them. And quite frankly, to buy it, it's crazy expensive. So I'd rather, as I told Justin earlier, I have a mortgage. I'm going to pay my mortgage, and I'll roll my dice with health care. Maybe one day that'll come back to bite me, but if I ever get a full-time job and I'm no longer freelancing, and they have a good health care system, I'll sign up for it. I'm not stupid. I'm not against health care. God forbid something catastrophic happens to me, I'm screwed. But right now, I'm taking a chance and not paying these crazy monthly. I did for a while. Actually, I have to say this, and this is maybe part of why this resonates with me. I'll just bore you with the details really fast. I had dental insurance because one thing I'm going to take care of is my teeth. Teeth are very important. So I had dental insurance. And for a few years there, it was great getting my teeth cleaned 3 times a year, getting deep clean. Oh, yeah, my teeth are in great shape. And then all of a sudden, so I move. Then something changed with the insurance. It was out of a different network or something changed. And now I'm going in, and you get 2 free cleanings a year. If you wanted the third one, which I liked, you had to pay a little bit. It was worth it. And the plan was good. If you had any major work done, like 80% of it was covered. So anyway, now it's changed. Something changed. I don't know what changed. Plus, I moved, so not only did I have to find a new dentist, I had to find a dentist that is in the new network. Now, this is, not health care, but it's part of it. Long story short, every dentist I go to, where the cleaning used to be free, it's like, oh, no, now you have to pay $65. It's like, what do you mean? It used to be free. Why so? Well, the insurance doesn't cover the whole cleaning. Doesn't cover the whole cleaning? What are you talking about? Well, we had to take an x-ray. It doesn't cover the x-ray. Well, you didn't tell me that. Next time. Oh, it's going to be $226. $226? I have insurance. Yeah, but the insurance doesn't cover this. It's like there's always a story. And it really got frustrating. And to the point where I just dropped the insurance. Because you know what? I can go get my teeth cleaned for less money just paying out of pocket than it was costing me with paying insurance premiums, and then these ridiculous numbers that were coming out of nowhere. $65 here, $226 there. It's like it was like made up numbers. So I said, you know what? Screw it. And I also had vision. This is almost comical if it wasn't so sad. So my eyes are fine. I could see through. I could see through walls practically. I could see things from a mile away. But when it comes to reading things close, I just need a little magnification now. Probably a set of readers would do me well. But I said, what the hell? I had the vision that came part very inexpensively with the aforementioned dental. Long story short, I said, well, instead of just getting a cheap pair of readers from like Walmart, let me just go get my eyes checked. And if I need a minor prescription, I'll get the real deal. It'd be healthier for my eyes. So I go there. Now, you got to remember, been paying into this now for like 2 years. And I called the guy, I'm going to make an appointment, get my eyes checked. I said, now I've got my card with the insurance company, and it's got my name on it. And when he tells me I'm not in the system, what do you mean I'm not in the system? I've been paying into this for 2 years. So I call up the insurance company, and this guy tells me I'm not in the system. And they're like, oh, yeah, that was a mistake. There must have been a glitch. We see that your name is on the account, but for some reason it's never been put into the system. Some hogwash, some BS. So you know what? I canceled that too. I said, screw it. It's like, it's always a game. It's always a scam. Now, this is minor. I can go get my teeth cleaned for a couple $100, okay? That's something that's doable. I can go get my eyes checked. I see things on TV all the time. $69, 2 pairs of glasses. I don't know if that's a bait and switch, but it's nothing life-threatening is what I mean. But what if you have something catastrophic? What if you have cancer? What if you have heart disease? What if you have a child with some godforsaken illness and you need real health care and you have been paying into it forever, high amounts of money, and then you go there and they say, sorry, you're denied, or you're not in the system. Think about that. Now, your child's going to die, you're going to die, or you're going to live with some ailment that's going to shorten your life. You're going to be pissed. The vision, again, you can go $69 or $99, get 2 pairs of glasses. Dental cleanings, you can overcome that. But a catastrophic illness, heart disease, cancer, or some other type of thing, bad deal, what do? You have no recourse. You can't go paying $100,000. It's crazy. So this is the crux of it. And the nation has sided. The nation has sided. Some have sided with this guy needs to be caught because all killers need to be caught. And the other is like, well, no, he's not a Robin Hood, but we want him to get away. What he did is wrong, but we want him to get away, which is weird to me. Very strange. All right, we will take a quick break. We'll come back. If you have a comment on this, I'm fascinated by this case. I think the police are lying. The fact that they went through the Bethesda pond today looking for the gun and didn't find anything is the epitome of the investigation. They've come up empty. They've got pictures of this guy. For all we know, he's out of the country. For all we know, someone flew him in, and he's already back in who knows where. That could be it, too. 855-839-1210. My name is Lou Pate. You are listening to 1210 WPHT.
Revamp your living space with Emmons Remodeling.
Our seasoned designers and construction experts bring creativity and expertise to every project, ensuring stunning results for you and your family.
From new layouts to upgraded finishes, at Emmons Remodeling, we do it all.
So call us today at 856-885-6677 or visit us on the web at callemmons.com. From top to bottom,
to inside and out,
at Emmons, we have you covered.
It's Joe Conklin with the City Rhythm Orchestra at Westchester University and Pittman, New Jersey in February.
Alan Iverson, Joel and Bean.
My dad set this up. This was actually a Christmas gift to bring us all together, come see Joe and relive all the Philadelphia history. It's amazing.
That's Conklin with City Rhythm and the story of Philly sports through music. Westchester University on February 21st and the Broadway Theater in Pittman, New Jersey on February 22nd. Tickets to a Conklin show make great holiday gifts. For tickets, go to joeconklin.com. joeconklin.com!
Hi, this is Dom Giordano at Batteries Plus Bulbs in Mount Laurel and Northfield. My friend Roy is looking for help. A handy do-it-yourselfer would be ideal. It's a great low-pressure environment with both full-time and part-time jobs available. Plus, if you're the entrepreneurial type, Roy is always interested in bringing in new services. But above all, customer service key. If you're willing to do what it takes to help, you need to talk to Roy. Be part of the team. They power it, they light it, they fix it. Call 856-638-0778. Batteries Plus Bulbs, Mount Laurel and Northfield.
Hi, this is Joe Mederchik, PNC Bank Regional President. People ask us, is PNC just a boring bank? Well, that depends. Is starting a business boring or being the first person in your family to go to college? For nearly 160 years, we've done the hard and occasionally boring work of banking to deliver brilliant results to our clients. To see what boring banking can do for you, stop into any of our local branches right here in the greater Philadelphia community. PNC Bank, brilliantly boring since 1865. PNC Bank, National Association, member FDIC.
Don't miss the Education Show with Dom Giordano every Sunday morning at 5:30. Find out how you can help your child or grandchild succeed. Sponsored by New Hope Academy.
When you need to know, depend on KYW News Radio 103.9 FM.
People celebrate in Syria as rebels overthrow President Bashar al-Assad's government. The NYPD keeps scouring for clues left behind by the gunman who killed the CEO of United Healthcare. The Eagles make history, tying a franchise best 9 straight wins, defeating the Carolina Panthers at home. Final score 22-16.
Get the latest anytime on KYW News Radio. Now on Crystal Clear 103.9 FM.
You've never needed us more.
There's a chill in the air. You flip on the heat, and nothing. And why does it always happen right after you've finally gotten cozy? For as little as $13 a month, Oliver will keep your home's heating, cooling, plumbing, and electrical systems in check year-round. And guess what? Membership also comes with yearly inspections, exclusive discounts on repairs and replacements, plus priority emergency service.
Call Oliver for all of your heating, cooling, plumbing, and electrical needs.
This is Dr. Marianne Ritchie. Tune in to Your Radio Doctor every Saturday afternoon at 5 here on Talk Radio 1210 WPHT for the latest healthcare news and information, because your health is your wealth. That's Your Radio Doctor, Saturdays at 5.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm. An important message about your timeshare from Chuck McDowell, founder of Wesley Financial Group.
If you receive an unsolicited phone call or mail piece to discuss selling, renting, or especially canceling your timeshare, don't fall for it. Contact your timeshare resort or Wesley Financial Group for assistance, and I'll send you our timeshare exit information kit free with the straight facts about timeshare cancellation.
Call 800-408-4040. That's 800-408-4040.
Uh-oh, Brad's buzzed.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, he's starting with the woots. And now a speech.
I just want to say that friendship is about heart and brain. Who's with me?
Good thing is, he knows when he's buzzed.
And my brain is saying, when it's time to go home, somebody call me a ride.
Love that guy.
Me too.
Know your buzzed warning signs? Call for a ride when it's time to go home. Buzz driving is drunk driving. A message from NHTSA and the Ad Council.
Follow Talk Radio 1210 on Instagram and Facebook at 1210 WPHT.
Welcome back to 1210 WPHT. Pate here. And you, if you're so inclined to take part in the conversation at 855-839-1210. Talking about the murder of Brian Thompson, the former CEO of United Healthcare, company that has denied the most out of any healthcare insurance company, people claims 32%. That is high. But we are talking true crime. New York City, another black eye for them. This is not going to bode well in the heart of Tourist Central. Some people are saying this will keep tourists away. I say no. Do you know that the day that guy was killed, that night, 4 blocks away, was the lighting of the Rockefeller Center Christmas tree, and the place was packed. So, no, it's not going to hurt tourism. Nobody knows. And aside from true crime buffs, such as myself, nobody cares. Nobody gives a rat's patuka about some CEO or anybody else. It could have been some gangbanger from some ghetto neighborhood. Nobody would care. They don't care. People are self-absorbed. People only care about themselves. Everybody knows that. So there was speculation, like, on social media. Oh, are they going to stop the tree lighting? Are you kidding me? The tree lighting, that brings in millions of dollars. You've got tens of thousands of people congested into a very small area. You've got St. Patrick's Cathedral across the street, Saks Fifth Avenue, who, by the way, Saks Fifth Avenue, due to budget cuts, did not have their famous window lighting, which is famous. So, no, you kidding me? The shops, the restaurants, the delis, the coffee shops, the vendors, you kidding me? For one dead guy, no one's giving up all that cash, and that's what it's all about. It's all about cash. But in the genre of true crime, I will tell you this. Today is December 8th. Today is actually the 44th anniversary of the murder of John Lennon in New York City. It's a mere, 18 blocks away up to the north in front of the Dakota at 72nd Street and Central Park West. December 8th, 1980. So here we are, December 8th, 2024. 44 years. Do you remember where you were? I was watching, I was a kid, I was a little kid. I remember watching it was the Patriots and the Dolphins were on Monday Night Football, and Howard Cosell came on, and and they said he had like 30 seconds to do this, and it was like the best ad lib of all time. I've recorded it. I've got it somewhere. Actually, I just realized it was the anniversary of Lennon's murder. They call that an assassination too. Nothing against John Lennon, but it was a murder. Okay, not an assassination. So they Cosell comes back with like 30 seconds notice and says, "This is a football game. Blah blah blah. Football game's not important." Probably the most popular of all the Beatles, John Lennon, shot in front of his apartment in the Dakota in New York City, rushed to St. Luke's Hospital, dead on arrival. I mean, it's the classic Cosell. It's incredible. That dramatic pause, dead on arrival. It was just like, I didn't even know I was going to get into broadcasting at that point. I'm a little kid, and even I knew it was brilliant. I sat up. I was like, oh, man. But in that year, 1980, New York City had 1,814 murders, along with many other thousands of felonies. But at the time, the New York Times called Lennon's murder the worst year of crime in New York City. Oh, well, they topped that by getting 2,000 murders a few short years later. But again, even Lennon's murder. There was a picture of Lennon taken with Chapman, the guy who killed him, the afternoon that he killed him. He was getting an autograph. Someone snapped a picture, and Chapman stood there the whole time. And then when Lennon came back and it was dark, he shot him. And Lennon knew what was going on. He shot at him, and Lennon he took off, and he got 6 bullets in his back, and he collapsed. And it's a shame, but it's just one of those. It's just not one of those things. It's one of those horrible things. So yeah. Anyway, 44 years ago today, I'm going to go so far as to predict that they are not going to catch this guy. I'm going to go out on a limb. They are not going to catch the killer of Brian Thompson. They might identify him, but they are not going to find him. Do you think I'm right? Do you think I'm wrong? 855-839-1210. LouPate@gmail.com. If you want to send me an email, there are some waiting there. I will get back to each and every one of you, the good, the bad, and the ugly. You are listening to The Matt Rooney Show, 1210 WPHT.
Do you owe $10,000 or more in credit card debt or personal loans? With credit card debt at all-time highs, Debt Relief Advocates is urgently notifying consumers of debt relief now being made available, designed to aid consumers with out-of-control credit card debt. Those who qualify and enroll for this relief program will only have to pay back a fraction of what they owe. This is not bankruptcy or a debt consolidation loan. This is a relief program that credit card companies would rather you not know about, as it ends your debt nightmare and saves you lots of money. Consumers owing at least $10,000 in credit card debt or personal loans can now take advantage of this debt relief as the cost of living skyrockets. Debt Relief Advocates has established a relief hotline for you to call to learn what debt reduction you may qualify for, so don't wait. For this free information, call the relief hotline at 800-390-6294. 800-390-6294. 800-390-6294.
prescription products require completion of an online consultation with an independent healthcare provider and are only available if prescribed. Subscription required. Additional restrictions apply. See website for more details and safety information.
Did you know that men across the country are getting their ED meds at TriRexMD.com and saving thousands of dollars? TriRexMD.com has FDA-approved ED meds and is now offering sample packs. Listen to what guys are saying about TriRexMD.com.
My partner thinks that I am a rock star.
I felt like a young man again. My wife is definitely much happier.
I walk a little taller when I'm using the product, knowing what the results are going to be.
Because it is effective, I say I'm on a second honeymoon.
It's literally life-changing.
Visit TriRexMD.com. Your consultation is free, there's no copays, no doctor office visits, and your shipping is always free. You can now access a 30-day sample pack at TriRexMD.com with generics, if appropriate. Visit TriRexMD.com right now to get your sample pack. That's TriRexMD.com.
Attention! Have you racked up $10,000 or more in credit card debt? Are you barely getting by making minimum payments? With credit card debt reaching all-time highs, National Debt Relief is notifying consumers about significant debt relief options currently being made available to help those with overwhelming credit card debt. These options may reduce a large portion of credit card debt for those who qualify. You don't need to declare bankruptcy or take out a consolidation loan, and you may only have to pay back a fraction of what you owe, even if you have bad credit. National Debt Relief has already reduced the credit card debt for more than 550,000 consumers, so don't wait. If you owe $10,000, $20,000, or even $100,000 in credit card debt, you can now take advantage of this financial debt relief as the cost of living continues to skyrocket. To check what debt reduction you may qualify for, call 800-885-9595. 800-885-9595. Again, that's 800-885-9595.
I'm Michael Toscano. With the overthrow by rebels and exiling of Syria's brutal dictator Bashar al-Assad, the U.S. has launched airstrikes against ISIS camps in Syria. We have more on that from CBS national security correspondent Charlie D'Agata.
Defense officials tell CBS News that U.S. warplanes have conducted multiple airstrikes inside Syria in the past 24 hours. They used B-52 bombers, F-15 fighter jets, A-10 attack aircraft. This is a significant escalation in America's ongoing mission against ISIS militants, and it says a lot about the rapidly changing situation on the ground.
The goal of the strikes is to keep the Islamic State from reasserting itself in Syria as the country undergoes changes. President-elect Donald Trump is calling for an immediate ceasefire in Ukraine. Posting on social media, he, quote, would like to make a deal and stop the madness. CBS's Katrina Kaufman is following.
Trump saying that he will decrease aid to Ukraine absolutely puts more pressure on Zelensky. And we're seeing Trump use these almost bargaining tactics as leverage.
With day 5 of the manhunt for the person who shot and killed healthcare executive Brian Thompson on a Manhattan street coming to a close, there's been no word of any break in the case. CBS's Chanel Call says the investigation has been extended to about 80 police entities, as she discusses with CBS News law enforcement contributor Rodney Harrison.
I'm wondering what the role is those departments, police departments across the country will actually play in this investigation, especially given the fact that we don't know publicly the person's name who police are looking for.
Well, just because you don't know publicly who the person is, the investigators that are assisting may know, and they might have been told, hey, keep things close to your chest.
New Jersey Governor Phil Murphy has officially appointed Congressman Andy Kim to start his newly elected Senate position early. Our Christopher Cruz has more.
Kim has represented New Jersey's 3rd congressional district since 2019. He'll serve the remainder of the term of former Democratic Senator Bob Menendez, who resigned after being convicted of 16 counts of corruption by a federal jury. Kim's full 6-year term begins in January.
The extra few weeks will actually give Kim added seniority over other new senators. These cold days and nights are battering bank accounts with high heating costs. Matthew Johnson is with Consumers Energy. He's got some advice.
First thing I would recommend is get a smart thermostat. If you don't already have a smart thermostat, it's a great way to monitor your energy usage during the winter and make sure that you can save up to 20% on your heating costs.
And he says check your doors and windows for leaks. This is CBS News.
Think O'Reilly Auto Parts for all your car care needs. Get the parts and service you need fast from the professional parts people at O'Reilly Auto Parts.
WPHT, WPHT-HD, WOGL HD3 Philadelphia. From the Cherry Hill Volvo Studios, where relationships matter. Always live on the free Odyssey app. Live and local with Matt Rooney. On Talk Radio 1210, WPHT.
Welcome to 1210 WPHT. Lou Pate here with you, along with producer Justin Otero. And you, if you're so inclined to take part in the show at 855-839-1210, you can email loupate@gmail anytime before, during, and after the show. Everybody gets a response, like a modern-day participation trophy that the left likes to give out. On social media, on X, at Lou Pate Show. Well, I hate to say I told you so, but I'm going to say I told you so about Hunter Biden. Nothing was ever going to happen to Hunter Biden. Everybody got all crazy about this pardon, but I told you nothing was going to happen. Quite frankly, I'll be honest, I didn't know the avenue that it was going to take, where there would actually be a trial and he would be convicted and awaiting sentencing and then pardoned. No, I'll be honest, I did not see that part coming. I didn't think that the corrupt president at the time, Joe Biden, and the corrupt DOJ run by Merrick Garland at the time, and the corrupt FBI, which needed to be dismantled, which I have been saying going back to my days at Fox News Radio in 2017, should have been dismantled. I didn't think they would ever bring charges. That's what I thought when I said nothing would ever happen to him. But at the end of the day, the result is still the same. Nothing ever happened to Hunter Biden. So that's what we have it. But everybody is all crazed about the pardon, but that didn't surprise me at all. When Joe Biden told David Muir that he was not going to pardon his son, I did not believe him, and neither should you. I have a montage here that I might play later. I don't know. It's pretty long. The longest soundbite I think I've ever played was like 2 minutes long, because to keep it in context, it was like 2 minutes and 20 seconds or something. This is like 9 minutes and 3 seconds long, but it is worth it. It is every left-wing propagandist on CNN, MSNBC, ABC, NBC, CBS talking about what a stand-up guy Joe Biden is. He's looking out for the Constitution. He said he's not going to pardon his son. And then, of course, you know they're all reading from the same script because they all use the same word. And that word is contrast. By contrast, had this been Donald Trump, by contrast, if Donald Trump did this, it's always like they always have to drag in Donald Trump. Joe Biden, a man of honor. Joe Biden, a man of ethics, a man of morals, a man of the Constitution, a man of democracy. It's laughable. And they go on and on and on. Stephanie Rule from MSNBC. Gosh, please stop getting first. I don't criticize people's personal appearance. It's because I'm not exactly a raving beauty here. Okay, that's why I'm on the radio. But ladies and gentlemen, stop getting face work done. It's horrible. The poor woman's nose is almost gone, like Michael Jackson's. But that aside, she's going on and on about Joe Biden, and she cannot say it enough about what a great man he is for not pardoning his son. And I'm sitting there thinking, as I'm watching this montage, how did they not know that he was going to pardon? Joe Biden, if his lips are moving, he's lying, as the old expression goes. You had to figure he's not going to let his son go to prison. Okay, he might let your son go to prison. He'll let your son go to war, which he's trying to start now, but he's not letting his son go. So I find the whole thing pretty comical. And you have people in the left-wing media, Chuck Todd, Jake Tapper, Mika and Joe Brzezinski over there on MSNBC, Joe Scarborough, Mika Brzezinski, carrying water for this guy, lying about his cognitive decline, which is another thing I've never made fun of, the cognitive decline, because, hey, that could happen to any of our parents. That could happen to you and I. We're all headed in that same direction of old age if we make it that far. So that's not something that's to be mocked. But what's to be mocked is how these propagandists, such as Jake Tapper and Chuck Todd, are now beside themselves with shock that Joe Biden lied. And before we get to the sound bites, which are comical, there's one. This is when I wish I had a TV show, because there's one of Chuck Todd. He is so angry. He's talking with, I think, Chris Saliza. He is so angry. You hear the anger in his voice and the audio, but in the video, his teeth actually come together, biting his lips, like doing the white man overbite. He's so angry. And it's like, what are you angry about? How did you not see this coming? How did you believe these people? It is just unbelievable. And, of course, we're going to play a clip. We have a guy named Eli Honig. He's a CNN contributor, and he can't quite get out of that puppet mode yet. He can't totally criticize Biden for the pardon. It's pretty funny. But where does all this start? Let me tell you where this all begins, okay? And I'm going to go back to the previously not to be mentioned issue of the stolen election in 2020, right? We're not allowed to say that. We weren't, at least we weren't for a long time. I've never held back. I've always spoke my piece. But the point is, think about what the Democrats have done to themselves, not the Republicans, because the Republicans can always snatch defeat from the jaws of victory. It's not the Republicans, and in this case, it's not even Donald Trump, although he did his part and he won a landslide, the greatest comeback in political history. We'll never see anything like it in our lifetime. But the stage was set. Now, bear with me here. The stage was set by the Democratic Party by stealing the 2020 election. Here it goes. Joe Biden not winning the Iowa caucus, not winning New Hampshire, not going to get the nomination in 2020. All of a sudden, Bernie Sanders, Pete Buttigieg, and alike, all the way down the line, all drop out before Super Tuesday saying, we can't beat Joe Biden, we can't beat Joe Biden. What do you mean you can't beat Joe Biden? You just did, twice. And now all of a sudden, they all drop out. Joe Biden sweeps Super Tuesday on his way to the fixed Democratic nomination. Okay, that's what the Democrats did. They fixed the nomination for Joe Biden in 2020 because they thought he's the best chance they had to beat Donald Trump. Okay, flash ahead to the general election. We all know what happened there. The 81 million votes that were there in 2020 didn't reappear in 2024. 2024's numbers for Kamala Harris, Barack Obama's numbers in 2008, 2012, Hillary Clinton's number 2016, even Kerry's numbers down in 2004 prove that the 81 million votes in 2020 were not real. Okay, so now you got Joe Biden in there. Okay, you've secured the presidency. He's in there. Almost immediately, and sadly, I have to admit, his cognitive decline begins. And, it's there for everybody to see. People start questioning it almost immediately. Deny, deny, deny. The media carries water. The Democrats deny and lie for 3.5 years until that fateful debate with Donald Trump where it could not be denied anymore. And now they're all playing the pointing game of, how come the White House didn't tell us this? Please, you all knew. You're all lying. You were all in on it. It's probably one of the biggest shams in American history, for which there have been many just in the last 3.5 years. Spies that lie and 50 people lying. Anthony Blinken should be brought up on charges, as should the other 49 who signed that letter about Hunter Biden's laptop. But we'll get to that in just a few minutes. So now Biden has to drop out. And you got nobody. What are you going to put in there? Gavin Newsom? California's a mess. I actually thought it was going to be Newsom and Whitmer from Michigan, but I was wrong on that one. They probably would have done better than Harris and Walz. But the point is, the Democrats have shot themselves in the foot. They have shot themselves in the foot by fixing their own primary, fixing the election, lying for Biden for 3.5 years, along with their lemmings in the media, and then being stuck with Harris, who they picked too. They didn't have a primary because they thought she was the best bet to beat Donald Trump. So their own actions back in 2020 have led to their demise in 2024. It's as simple as that. Everybody's just talking about, oh, Harris blew $1 billion and she blew the election. Yeah, she did. Excuse me. She did. But it's also the lack of political savvy of Nancy Pelosi, for which there is none. The lack of political savvy by Chuck Schumer, for which there is none. Okay? These people are propped up by the media, which is the only reason they get to live for another political day. And now it's basically caught up with them. It had to eventually. And it took Donald Trump to do it, even with all of the fake felonies that they've thrown at him. That's all going to get thrown away. They still like to say, he's a convicted felon. Please. Would you like it if someone took an expired misdemeanor, whipped it up into 34 felonies, which is basically the same thing 34 times, convicted you in a kangaroo court, and then was trying to throw you in jail? Would you stand for that? How would you feel if that was being done to your father or your brother, your husband? You wouldn't like it at all. So it's kind of funny that although Donald Trump was the driving force that finally put the nail in their coffin, and credit to him for the campaigning that he did and the type of campaign that he ran, it was brilliant. It had to be perfect in order to win, because you have the media against you, you had the fix was in. They were going to try to do it again. We've seen, I'm sure there's been some corruption during this election cycle. Did you notice that they just stopped counting votes recently? Every race that went weeks after Election Day were all won by the Democrats. Isn't that funny how that happens? Every single race that was still being counted weeks after Election Day all went to the Democrats. What's the statistical probability of that? Probably slim to none. Think about it. Unbelievable. So what we have going on now is everybody's in shock. It's like, are the people in the mainstream media? I mean, I know that, and I know that most of, probably 99.9% of all of the people on TV got their jobs through nepotism or cronyism. That's just the way the industry works. That's the way talk radio works. Most people get their jobs through who they know. On TV, it's even worse. So you've got your Yale, your Princeton, your Harvard, your senators' kids, your CEOs' nephews, all these different people. Everybody you see on TV is connected to someone else. Nobody gets there on their own. Very few. Okay? So with that said, there's not a lot of life experience there, so there's not a lot of street smarts, as we like to say. So when these people get snookered, they're baffled. How could this have happened? Like, if they ever had to live in the real world, they'd be a con man's dream. They would get hustled so fast in the real world because they don't know how to live in the real world because they've never lived there. So not only did they get conned, they got conned by the person that they were covering for, the person that they put their trust in, the person that they thought had their back because they have had his back since the beginning, since the fake nomination that stuck him in there when Buttigieg and Sanders and the rest all dropped out, to the fake election, to the faking the cognitive decline was not real, to faking that his son wasn't a despicable human being and has videos with underage girls and drugs and guns on that laptop, and on and on and on. How could you turn your back on us? You wouldn't be the president. You would have had to resign. How could you do this to us? It's unbelievable how naive and stupid the biggest names in the mainstream media are. And I say that with kindness because there's a lot of other words I could use to describe these people. It's unbelievable how naive they are to life. Let's listen to Chuck Todd and his anger. This is cut number 5.
I followed the Hunter Biden trial very closely.
Mm-hmm.
I read every transcript, all the testimony, because that's what all that was made public. And there is, you want to read, you want to get angry, just as somebody in just all these mixed emotions. You read the Hallie Biden transcript, and that's Bo's widow.
Yes.
and essentially he turned her into a crack addict. And this was all happening in 2017, 2018. And Joe and Joe Biden were so concerned about their family that they decided to run for president.
Yep.
So when you talk about the word selfish, it's almost like the word doesn't, their decision to run for president put the entire Democratic Party and the United States of America in the position that it's in now.
And you helped them, Chuck. Not just you, dozens of others in the mainstream media. Don't go saying, no, this is Jill and Joe Biden's fault. No, it's not. You were all in it together. Everybody knew what Hunter Biden was. Everybody knew that he took advantage of his dead brother's vulnerable wife, slept with her and everything, then turned her onto drugs. Everybody knows this. Everybody sees the pictures of these girls who look like they're 12 years old in those videos. I don't know their age, but they don't look of age. We'll just call it that. Everybody knows about the Skittles, and everybody knows about the drugs and the crack pipes. And we were told that was Russian misinformation. You, Chuck Todd, and the rest. So don't now pretend like, oh, Joe and Jill Biden were so selfish. Look what they did. We're in this position now with Donald Trump because of them. No, it was a team effort. It was the Senate, the Congress, all levels of the establishment media, all nepotism and crony hires, no one with an ounce of street smarts or life experience outside of the Ivy Leagues. And you still don't get it. And now they're trying to pass blame onto the guy with the onset of dementia or Alzheimer's, the outgoing president. That's as disgraceful as their actions have been over the last 3.5 years. Truly amazing that they did it. Truly amazing that after the fact that it's come back to bite them, they're angry about it because they thought they were going to get away with it. We'll take a quick break. Lou Pate here with you, 1210 WPHT.
Whatever the adventure, there's a BMW engineered to take it on. The X3 delivers a striking design with agile performance. The 100% electric i4 packed with pure electric energy. Or the plug-in hybrid X5, an impressive, versatile SUV granting full control on every journey. Choose what powers your next adventure during the BMW Road Home Sales Event. BMW, the ultimate driving machine.
Visit BMW of Westchester on Route 202 for a personalized test drive today.
Hey, it's Ike Reese coming to you from the most wonderful time of the year in Philly. Although, let's be honest, around the holidays, things really do add up. But this season of giving, Verizon's offering a single line for $50 per month when you switch and bring your phone. So, while ice skating for two is definitely costing more, here at Verizon, you can save. How about gifts for your third cousin? That's pretty steep. A single line with Verizon, not so steep. A real tree, pretty pricey. A single line with Verizon, less pricey. Even a trip to the Philly holiday market will cost you more. But with Verizon, you can switch and bring your phone for just $50 per month for a single line on unlimited welcome, with auto pay plus taxes and fees. All this to say, during the holiday season, when everything is costing more, you can get more for less right now at a local Verizon store.
$15 monthly promo credits applied over 36 months with a new line on unlimited welcome. In times of congestion, unlimited 5G, 4G, LTE may be temporarily slower than other traffic. Mystic data roaming at 2G speeds. Additional terms apply.
Pastor Brad Lacey here, First Baptist Church, Conshohocken. Join us Saturdays for the great message and be blessed. 5 a.m. right here on Talk Radio 1210 WPHT.
In Virginia Beach, our locals live the life every day. The art of living the life starts by connecting with what matters most. Happiness. When you visit, you will realize that happiness is a real place and that it is here in Virginia Beach.
When you need to know, depend on KYW News Radio 1039 FM.
People celebrate in Syria as rebels overthrow President Bashar al-Assad's government. The NYPD keeps scouring for clues left behind by the gunman who killed the CEO of United Healthcare. The Eagles make history, tying a franchise best 9 straight wins, defeating the Carolina Panthers at home. Final score 22-16.
Get the latest anytime on KYW News Radio. Now on Crystal Clear 103.9 FM.
You've never needed us more.
Prescriptions require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for details and important safety information. Subscription required. Price varies based on product and subscription plan.
Hi, I'm Dr. Peter Stahl, board-certified urologist and senior vice president of men's sexual health at HIMSS. In my 12 years of practice as a reproductive urologist, I've helped many guys with ED. And it has never been more convenient to treat than it is right now, thanks to Hims. It really wasn't easy before. You had to take time out of your day, come to a physical office, and see a specialist like me in person. Now, through Hims.com, you can get world-class sexual health care and a full range of treatment options for ED through a 100% online process. It starts with a free assessment from a medical provider licensed in your state who can determine if ED treatment is right for you. If prescribed, your medication is shipped to you for free. So don't wait. Join the hundreds of thousands of guys who've gotten help for their ED through Hims.
To start your free online visit and find ED treatment at up to 95% off brand name prices, go to hims.com/joy. That's hims.com/joy for your free online visit.
Diabetes, high blood pressure, anxiety meds, everyone's on them. If you're a 50-year-old male, maybe a bit porky, and you may even have type 2 diabetes, $1 million of term insurance may only cost you about $200 a month. Call Term Provider. Speak with Big Lou at 800-700-6898. Big Lou will find a term life policy for you even if you have type 2 diabetes, are overweight, or have high blood pressure. Term Provider has helped thousands of people like you who think they can't afford term life insurance. To buy $1 million of affordable term life for you, all you need to do is call Big Lou at 800-700-6898. Lou will make sure the scales are tipped in your favor. Call 800-700-6898. Big Lou will answer your call and work to fit you into a term life policy that you can afford. Remember, Big Lou's like you. He's on meds too. Call 800-700-6898. 800-700-6898 or biglou.com.
Right now, someone you know is hungry. The Catholic Charities Appeal needs your help to provide hope to those in need. 1 in 5 people benefits from the money we raise. I'm Ernie Russum, board president of the Appeal. Please donate at CatholicCharitiesAppeal.org.
If you're still waiting for a sign, here's another one. At California Psychics, we reject 98% of the psychics who apply to work for us. So we only connect you with the best. That's how we can guarantee if your reading isn't life-changing, it's free. And right now, new customers receive 20 minutes for just $20. If that's not a sign, I don't know what is. Dramatic sound effect incoming. Experience the joy of certainty at CaliforniaPsychics.com.
Calling on Levittown. Hello there. To follow 1210 WPHT on the free Odyssey app. Download it now.
Welcome back. 1210 WPHT. Lou Pate here with you. Getting my opinion in there on the Hunter Biden laptop, which, you know, I'm not surprised. Was anybody surprised? I mean, it was like such huge news, and everybody's got their panties in a bunch, and I'm thinking, why? This is Joe Biden. This guy's been committing crimes since God knows how long. Do you realize that this is a man who is so corrupt? He is giving money to Ukraine, along with many other Democrats, and it's getting laundered and coming back to them and their causes. This has been confirmed by a minister in the Polish parliament, the Polish government. So it's not even up for discussion anymore. There are documents that show him taking money from Romania, taking money from Ukraine. This is when Obama was president. Remember? Fire. The guy's looking into my son. Fire him or else you don't get the $1 billion in U.S. taxpayer money. Remember that one? Bragging about that. Still can't believe Trump didn't use that enough during the 2020 election. Taking money from Romania, taking money from Ukraine, taking money from Russia and China. Now, I'm the only talk show host who's actually put this together, and I'll do it again, so stay with me on this. So Biden takes money from China, right? And he takes money from Russia. But now Russia's fighting with Ukraine. He takes money from Ukraine, too. He's taking money from all three. So Russia going after Ukraine now causes Biden to have to go against Russia. But this now brings China closer to Russia. So he's kind of painted himself into a corner. He's taking money from all three, but he's brought two of them, the very powerful two, Russia and China, much closer together. It's just such an obvious corrupt mess. And then people like Chuck Todd, who we played audio of in the previous segment, who ran coverage for this behavior, even when the documentation was produced that he took money from these countries, banking documents and so on and so forth, it covered for them, is now appalled and tried to say they lied to us. No, they didn't lie to you. You were in on it. Accept responsibility for not being a journalist. Accept responsibility for being a propagandist, because that is what you are. Chuck Todd, Jake Tapper, Kristen Welker, Katie Tur, all these different people, Rachel Maddow, Mika Brzezinski, Joe Scarborough, and the rest. I can't think of all the names. You're not journalists. Journalism is sacred. You are propagandists. That's what you are. You might have started out as journalists, but you let your politics blind you. As I often refer, I did a show earlier this year on how Democrats will put the party over everything. They will put the party over their faith. They will put the party over their family. They will put the party over everything. We've seen it with the Kennedys, put the party over RFK Jr. We've seen rabbis and Chuck Schumer put the party over their Jewish faith. Remember the slaughter in the synagogue in Pittsburgh? And the rabbi told then President Trump, don't come here, you're not welcome. Again, dead worshipers slaughtered by a nut and an anti-Semite. And now we have a rabbi telling the President of the United States, who wants to show his support for the dead people and their families, but also to show support for Israel, no, you're not welcome. Schumer siding with the anti-Semitic protests in 2024 on college campuses. Again, party over his faith. It's just the way they are. Democrats will pick the party over their own children if they had to, but not Joe Biden. Joe Biden kicked the party off a cliff for his kid. And that, to me, is comical. And some, they still can't get over it. Here's a clip number 6. This is Eli Honig. He's a CNN contributor. Can't totally criticize Biden for the pardon. Cut 6, please.
Joe Biden, let's be clear here, he lied to us for a long time. He said categorically, I will not pardon my son. He said, I will take it off the table. And he couched it in very high-minded terminology. I respect the Justice Department. I respect the jury's verdict. Well, now he's gone back on that. I don't know how many people actually believed him. I certainly didn't. There's tape of me saying there's no way he's going to make good on this. He's absolutely going to pardon Hunter Biden. But as to whether this tarnishes the justice system, I don't think I would go that far. I think this, like I said, will go down on the list of ignominious presidential pardons, but I don't think law students 50 or 100 years from now are going to look back at this as a horrific miscarriage of justice that undermines the foundation of our justice system. There is a reasonable argument that in some respects Hunter Biden was treated unfairly, and I think that will give Joe Biden some degree of cover here.
No cover. And they'll be talking about this in 100 years, and it is a miscarriage, and it is an abuse of power, and it is an abuse of the justice system, just like all of the lawfare, as it's called, I don't like that word, but that's what they're calling it, against Donald Trump has been a miscarriage of justice. Are you kidding me? I'll tell you what, I've made an executive decision to play the montage, okay? This is by far the longest clip I have ever played, and I've been wrestling with it for like the last 31 minutes. And this is everybody in the mainstream media right around the time Joe Biden decided he is not going to pardon his son, okay? And this is them all praising him, and all of these same people now have been left with egg on their face. He left egg on the face of the Democratic Party. He left egg on the face of every lemming in the media who became a propagandist for him. Let's play it in its entirety. Cut number 7, Justin.
Presidential promise to put the law before family.
I said I abide by the jury decision. I will do that, and I will not pardon him.
Letting the world know that he will not wipe away the decision of 12 of his son's peers.
Was asked directly, and he has said he wouldn't pardon his son if he gets convicted.
Let's wait and see what happens if he loses.
Yeah, but he said it.
He's going to get pardoned by his dad. There's no question about that.
The president has ruled out pardoning his son.
Major commitment from the president, accepting the outcome of the trial and also pledging
not to pardon his son.
So the challenge for him is really to continue to live up to his values when it was really personal, and he did that today.
It seems like a pretty normal, straightforward answer, but it takes new weight when we see what Trump is saying about the outcome of his trial, what we're hearing from other Republicans who say they don't accept the jury's verdict here in New York.
The contrast is profound. To sit there and say, well, I'm not going to intervene in the legal process, and I wouldn't pardon my son. One side, Democrats and Joe Biden protecting the justice system. And on the other, Republicans and Trump protecting Trump.
Our current president of the United States has so much respect for the law that he has said he would not pardon his son. I mean, what, you know, again, it's all about the contrast.
President Biden saying, I will respect whatever this jury decides, versus Donald Trump after he was convicted on 34 counts, saying the entire system is rigged against him.
Their latest attack has been that Joe Biden has politicized and weaponized the DOJ, right? That was the whole argument around Donald Trump's conviction. And this week, of course, Hunter Biden was found guilty, and Joe Biden has very clearly said he would not pardon his son, he would not commute his sentence. How stark is this difference? I mean, how can Republicans keep making this argument now that Joe Biden has really put it out there? Where's Hunter? And he stood there in a courtroom, flanked by his family, and he's accepted his sentence.
He is not pardoning his son, which he could do. These are federal charges. Right. He is not doing that. He is not doing it because he is living what it means to have a rule of law in this country. Yeah. And it isn't, I mean, if you want to know if he believes it, you could actually see what is happening with his own son.
The president, Anderson, has been really clear that he is going to accept the outcome of the trial no matter what happens.
So Joe Biden's gotten asked about, talking about law and order. He's gotten asked if he would pardon his son. He has said no. On the other side, you've got Donald Trump, who has said that he will pardon the January 6th insurrectionists. Yeah. They're not even his sons. They're just sons of bitches.
Washington said, I am not running again, because he understood the self-restraint was absolutely essential to this country, so you don't have a king. He did not pardon his son. He did not order the Department of Justice to say, don't prosecute my son. So impressive.
Could have ordered the Justice Department to halt the prosecution of Hunter Biden, according to this court. Everyone understands he's a decent man.
I think Joe Biden has a chance here to stand up for the rule of law, to say the law is the law, no matter who it is, no matter if it's Trump or Biden. And remember, part of Trumpism's dangerousness is that it tears down institutions, important institutions of our democracy. So there's an opportunity here for Biden to say, the jury found him guilty. This is how it's supposed to work. Period, paragraph, end of story.
Have you ruled out a pardon for your son?
Yes.
As I said last week, I will accept the outcome of this case and will continue to respect the judicial process as Hunter considers an appeal. The president said he won't touch it. He said he's not going to pardon his son. And it seems that Merrick Garland let it go through. How can the Justice Department be weaponized against Trump when all of that is happening?
But Democrats stand for the rule of law. Remember, law and order. And we've been saying that Trump's not above the law. Hunter Biden's not above the law. No one is above the law. And it is amazing to see the stark contrast between how Democrats handled today and how Republicans handled this whole thing over the last couple of weeks.
For years, these conservatives have been crowing about a politicized Justice Department, Biden politicizing it, and so on. What happened today? The Justice Department convicted the president's own son, his only living son. You heard the president say he would accept the outcome of the case. I know no other word for that, but presidential.
He even went so far as to say he wouldn't pardon his son. That's how much respect he has for the system.
The president has said that he will not pardon his son. What did you think of that?
I thought it was extraordinary. I mean, it was a moment of just moral clarity on the part of Joe Biden, and couldn't have been in starker contrast to the way Donald Trump has handled his own conviction.
He could still pardon him. He said he won't do that. All of that conduct, given that it's his son, is kind of, we should pause for a moment and think about how unbelievable that is. In a million years, if the shoe were on the other foot and Donald Trump was facing the prospect of his son being prosecuted by a Biden, me, if I had been held over, a Biden holdover or Obama holdover prosecutor, not in a million years
would that have happened? So, some of the people on the right, the people who support Donald Trump, are trying to cast this as some clever ops program.
Yeah. Hunter Biden was found guilty by a jury of his peers, just like Donald Trump, because this is our justice system at work. The divide here is stunning, and it's a great reminder that one political party remains committed to the rule of law and the other doesn't.
Joe Biden has already proven he's willing to stand up for the rule of law in a way that we could all never imagine Donald Trump to do.
Pretty emphatic over the last few days that he does not plan to pardon or commute his son. What that really is him saying is, I don't plan to use the powers of the office, the powers of the presidency, to provide private relief for my family. In a sense, he's staking out a pretty bright line between being, as he says, a president and a dad. And that's not just an emotional expression. He's, in effect, saying, I don't think that I don't have a right, even if it's legal, and God knows it must be tempting, to use this power in a way that is not available to so many other Americans facing similar kinds of struggles. There's a kind of old school sort of flinty core to his conception of how you are to be in the system, how you are to be as a person, a moral person, and ultimately how to contend with questions of power. One of the things that anybody who spends time around Joe Biden comes to know is that he's had this long-running focus on how much he is bothered by abuses of power.
Will accept the verdict no matter what it is, and that he has ruled out pardoning his own son. Contrast that from what we hear from Donald Trump. And again, we have to underline, in no uncertain terms, President Biden saying, I will accept the outcome. I will accept what the jury decides here. That's the way our legal system works. And no, I will not pardon my own son if he is convicted.
And the contrast is so clear in terms of decency and principle and transactional guidance in terms of how you view the world.
It is still a good day for the United States that this conviction is a prime example of the way our judicial system is supposed to work. Even President Biden saying in a statement that he would respect the outcome of this case. Those words so completely contrast with what his opponent, now a convicted felon himself, continues to say about the U.S. courts.
The contrast to how Trump has behaved, how Trump has treated the rule of law. This was a good day for the system, good day for sort of America as an example of how the rule of law should work.
President Biden told David Muir that he would absolutely accept the verdict, whatever it was, and that he would not pardon his son regardless. And today he said the same thing in a statement. Meanwhile, Donald Trump comes out and calls the justice system completely unfair. What do you think of that contrast?
There's the contrast of two different men.
Here is Joe Biden, who has lost a son who served honorably in the armed forces, who now has basically said, I will sacrifice my surviving son's future. I will allow him to serve a prison term if that's what's determined, because that is what the rule of law demands.
The president announces that he will not pardon his son. Do you think ordinary Americans give enough thought to how this system is a miracle, a gift to this country, a gift to democracy?
Listen, here's the secret to your holiday savings. Ready? You can get gifts starting at just $3.99. Toys from Disney, Mattel, Barbie, Sonic, Looney Tunes, Fisher-Price, Play-Doh, Nerf, Hot Wheels, and more. You can put a bow on these brands and won't break the bank. Adidas, Champion, Puma, Reebok, Converse, True Religion, DKNY, and Levi's are all at prices so low, they're basically a gift. The savings are hiding at You can put a bow on these brands and won't break the bank.
I'm here for PJ Fitzpatrick. Have you been dreaming of a new shower to replace your slippery old tub? PJ Fitzpatrick can install a low-threshold or low-entry, fully customized jacuzzi shower system in just one day. It is surprisingly affordable and comes with a lifetime guarantee. Trust me, a happy bath makes for a happy life. Better yet, trust PJ. Visit trustpj.com to set up a free design consultation and take advantage of the fall promotions. That's trustpj.com. TrustPJ.com.
Prescription products require completion of an online medication consultation with an independent healthcare provider through the LifeMD platform and are only available if prescribed. Subscription required. Individual results may vary. Additional restrictions apply at LifeMD.com. Read all warnings before using GLP-1s. Side effects may include a risk of thyroid C-cell tumors. Do not use GLP-1s if you or your family have a history of thyroid cancer.
Should GLP-1 weight loss medication like Wegovy and Zepbound cost hundreds of dollars? We don't think so.
TryLifeMD.com helps provide insurance access to the leading GLP-1 medications. Visit TryLifeMD.com to get your free insurance benefits check and see your eligibility in minutes. Listen to Tara's story after losing 42 pounds.
You just take your shot. It doesn't feel like you're on a diet. What I wasn't expecting it to do was to shut off the food noise. I'd gone from 237 to 195. This was life-altering, and if I can do it, I feel like anybody can do it.
Get started right now with your free insurance benefits check and see your eligibility for coverage in minutes at TryLifeMD.com. That's TryLifeMD.com.
Hi, this is Joe Mederchik, PNC Bank Regional President. Sticking to the fundamentals and not wavering from the game plan is a great philosophy for football and banking. And for nearly 160 years, our dedicated local PNC teams are in formation to help fans receive sound and reliable, personalized financial advice to get them across the goal line. Because, as we see it, a win for them is a win for the greater Philadelphia community. PNC Bank, brilliantly boring since 1865. PNC Bank, National Association, member FDIC.
Hey, it's Rich Zioli. Let me tell you about my buddy, Dr. Mike Veneria. Great guy. Whether you're looking for pediatric, general, cosmetic, or implant dentistry, look no further. Dr. Veneria and his award-winning team, they have your whole family covered, just like mine. Dr. Veneria's office exceeds CDC guidelines and has always maintained the strictest infection control with centralized UV sterilization of airflow to ensure your safety. Locations right over the bridge in Cinnamon in Woodbury, 856-786-2020 or veneriadental.com.
For a complete list of Talk Radio 1210 WPHT's contest rules, go to 1210WPHT.com/rules.
In Virginia Beach, our locals live the life every day. The art of living the life starts by connecting with what matters most. Happiness. When you visit, you will realize that happiness is a real place and that it is here in Virginia Beach.
Be prepared with CHIP, free or low-cost healthcare for Pennsylvania kids and teens. From checkups to unexpected bumps and bruises and everything in between, CHIP has you covered. Don't wait until you need it. Be prepared with CHIP. Because every kid deserves quality healthcare and every parent deserves peace of mind knowing their kids are covered. CHIP, free or low-cost healthcare for kids and teens under age 19. Learn more at chipcoverspakids.com.
Paid for with Pennsylvania taxpayer dollars.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm. An important message about your timeshare from Chuck McDowell, founder of Wesley Financial Group.
If you receive an unsolicited phone call or mail piece to discuss selling, renting, or especially canceling your timeshare, don't fall for it. Contact your timeshare resort or Wesley Financial Group for assistance, and I'll send you our timeshare exit information kit free with the straight facts about timeshare cancellation.
Call 800-408-4040. That's 800-408-4040.
Uh-oh, Brad's buzzed.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, he's starting with the woots. And now a speech.
I just want to say that friendship is about heart and brain. Who's with me?
Good thing is, he knows when he's buzzed.
And my brain is saying, when it's time to go home, somebody call me a ride.
Love that guy.
Me too.
Know your buzzed warning signs? Call for a ride when it's time to go home. Buzz driving is drunk driving. A message from NHTSA and the Ad Council.
Calling on Blackwood to follow 1210 WPHT on the free Odyssey app. Download it now.
We're nodding out for all those boring Democrats kissing Joe Biden's tuchus. That'll rock you and wake you up, won't it? Welcome back, 1210 WPHT. Lou Pate here with you. By far the longest soundbite that I have ever played, but I think it was worth it. You get the idea of why the media, after going and kissing and fawning over Joe Biden for saying he wasn't going to pardon his son. The reason he said he wasn't going to pardon his son is because he thought Kamala Harris would win and she would pardon him. Let alone at no time was Hunter Biden ever in danger of going to jail. But it was just funny. So now you hear them all praising Joe Biden, and now you understand why they're so mad at him. I'll tell you what, producer Justin, let's play cut number 5 again, because Chuck Todd's anger in this and the fact that he's not accepting responsibility when he knew what he was doing for the last 3.5 years is just comical. Cut number 5, please.
I followed the Hunter Biden trial very closely. I read every transcript, all the testimony.
because that's what all that was made public. And there is, you want to get angry, just as somebody in just all these mixed emotions. You read the Hallie Biden transcript, and that's Bo's widow.
Yes.
And essentially he turned her into a crack addict. And this was all happening in 2017, 2018. And Joe Biden were so concerned about their family that they decided to run for president.
Yep.
So when you talk about the word selfish, it's almost like the word doesn't, their decision to run for president put the entire Democratic Party and the United States of America in the position that it's in now.
What a liar. He didn't decide to run for president. It was agreed upon by the elites in the Democratic Party that he would be placed in as the nominee. The nomination was fixed. Let's stop pretending that we don't know the history. And we do know the history of Biden. What about when the journalist from the Daily Mail, Josh Boswell, I think his name was. If I'm screwing that up, I apologize, because he did that great in-depth series on Ashley Biden's diary where she said she was forced to shower with her father naked at an inappropriate age. What about that? And about Haley Biden. We knew all this. We knew all of this before the trial. You only knew at the trial? Call yourself a journalist, please. Speaking of journalism, we touched on it. We had a technical glitch in the beginning. We talked on NBC. Trump's first big interview with NBC was with Kristen Welker. And he talks about a lot of things as far as Christopher Wray invading his home. We'll get to that in the second clip. But what I see in these interviews is, do you expect anything different from the media in Trump's second term? It's a good question. And the short answer is no. The long answer is hell no. If you think how they were humiliated by Joe Biden and led astray there at the end by Joe Biden, even though they were with him from it, they were in it with Joe Biden with the deception from the beginning. For some reason, the reporters think that they were wronged. I don't know how. They're either lying or they're stupid. But the way they attacked Trump in his first term and really attacked him after his first term, do you think any of that's going to change in the second term? Based on the questioning by Kristen Welker of NBC in Trump's first major interview as president-elect, I'd say no. Let's listen to Kristen Welker here. She blames him on a divided nation, but then he throws it right back at her. Cut number 3, please, Justin.
Sir, I don't have to tell you this because you've talked about it. It comes at a time when the country is deeply divided. And now you're going to be leading this country for the next 4 years. For the sake of unifying this country, will you concede the 2020 election and turn the page on that chapter?
No. No, why would I do that? But let me just tell you, when you say the country is deeply divided, I'm not the president. Joe Biden's the president.
But you're going to be the president.
No. I'm not the president. So when you say it's deeply divided, I agree. But Biden's the president. I'm not. And he has been a divider. And you know where he divided it more than anything else, and it probably backfired on him, I think definitely, is weaponization. When he weaponized the Justice Department and he went after his political opponent, me. He went after his political opponent violently because he knew he couldn't beat him. And I think it really was a bad thing. And it really divided our country.
Sir, Democrats have control of the White House now. They didn't in 2020. If they are going around stealing elections, why
didn't they
do it?
When you say Democrats have control now?
Of the White House.
Yeah.
So why didn't they steal this election? Since they have more power now.
Because I think it was too big to rig.
So you won't...
Too big to rig.
He's just not going to let her get it in. Too big to rig. Too big to rig. I just find that hysterical. But I like the way he turned the tables on her, where she was kind of implying that, no, she was definitely implying that he's the reason that the nation is divided. That's preposterous. Like he said, I am not the president. And in this next clip, they talk about Christopher Wray. Christopher Wray was appointed by Donald Trump, and this epitomizes what I always say. My only criticism of Donald Trump is, and it covers a lot of bases, is an umbrella effect, if you will, is that in his first term, he didn't have me on his communications team. That was a major flaw. But also, he listened to the wrong people. He's listening to people who live in a super rich world, and they're not street smart. And they really don't know how the real world that we all live in worked. And he listened to a lot of these people, and he ends up with Christopher Wray, because the political croniness, political favors, and Christopher Wray stabbed him in the back. She asks him about Christopher Wray, and she doesn't seem to get why Trump might not be happy with Christopher Wray. Listen, cut number 4.
Are you going to fire the current FBI director, Christopher Wray, who you appointed?
Well, I can't say I'm thrilled with him. He invaded my home. I'm suing the country over it. He invaded Mar-a-Lago. I'm very unhappy with the things he's done. And crime is at an all-time high. Migrants are pouring into the country that are from prisons and from mental institutions, as we've discussed. I can't say I'm thrilled. I don't want to be Joe Biden and give you an answer and then do the exact opposite.
We're going to talk about
So
that,
I'm not going to do that. What I'm going to say is I certainly cannot be happy with him. You take a look at what's happened. And then when I was shot in the ear, he said, "Oh, maybe it was shrapnel." Where's the shrapnel coming from? Is it coming from heaven? I don't think so. So we need somebody to straighten. I have a lot of respect for the FBI, but the FBI's respect has gone way down over the last number of years.
Don't you have to fire him in order to make room for Kash Patel if he is in fact confirmed?
Well, I mean, it would sort of seem pretty obvious that if Kash gets in, he's going to be taking somebody's place, right? And somebody is the man that you're talking about.
It's amazing. She is one of the top journalists. I will run circles around that woman. If you blindfold me and then duct tape my ankles together, I could run circles around that woman when it comes to journalism and journalistic integrity, for which she has none. I mean, she's still playing the Democratic gotcha games of the election. It's almost sad. But I think this kind of epitomizes what is going to continue to go on with the Democratic Party and their propagandists in the media. Don't expect anything different. Don't think them to actually practice journalism while Trump is president, I'll tell you that. Oh, man, I'll tell you what, as we come up here on the top of the hour, special thanks to Matt Rooney for trusting me with his show, and special thanks to Greg Stocker for always having me on as much as possible. I do appreciate it. And a special thanks to producer Justin Otero. Always great to work with you, Justin.
Love working with you every single time.
Great job tonight. And listen, before we get to the end, I'd say 44th anniversary of the death of John Lennon in New York City. A lot of people don't realize that. So long ago. He's gone much longer than he was even around, but the impact is still there. But Justin, I didn't in the middle of the show to pull the Howard Cosell clip. You have to go, Justin, to YouTube and pull up Howard Cosell announcing the death of John Lennon. If you're working in broadcasting, you're going to be impressed for something that it is the best ad lib of all time. That's all I can say. It is the best ad lib of all time. Talk about doing something on the fly, and now who knew YouTube would be along in 36 years or so. And now it lives on forever. Truly an amazing feat. So we got less than a minute, Justin. You want to say anything about your birds tonight?
I don't like how we played, but, like I always say, the birds will always find an opportunity to play down to the competition. But, hey, at the end of the day, clinched a playoff spot. Go Birds.
All right. Super Bowl this year, or you don't want to jinx it? You're like that?
Not going to jinx it.
Not going to jinx it. Okay. We won't bring up the Sixers. I think they got a good shot. I think they've got a really good shot this year. So we'll see. But go Birds, as they say. Hey, this is the Matt Rooney Show. Thank you again, Justin. 1210 WPHT.
Hi, this is Dom Giordano. Happy holidays to all. It's the perfect time to talk about Rescue Natural Supplements and their Deck the Hall sale, because right now you can save up to 78% on exceptional natural supplements for every area of your health. From essentials like omega-3s, probiotics, cholesterol support, natural pain relief, and more. And the best part? Over a dozen health-boosting rescue products are marked down under $20. Get started. Stock up today. Call 800-26-ALIVE, 800-262-5483. Speak to a rescue product consultant or shop online at res-q.com. res-q.com. With Rescue, you can reinforce your immune system, boost energy, and reach your health goals. Again, there's no code needed to save up to 78% site-wide. So get a head start on your health. Visit res-q.com. That's res-q.com. Do it today.
Attention! Have you racked up $10,000 or more in credit card debt? Are you barely getting by making minimum payments? With credit card debt reaching all-time highs, National Debt Relief is notifying consumers about significant debt relief options currently being made available to help those with overwhelming credit card debt. These options may reduce a large portion of credit card debt for those who qualify. You don't need to declare bankruptcy or take out a consolidation loan, and you may only have to pay back a fraction of what you owe, even if you have bad credit. National Debt Relief has already reduced the credit card debt for more than 550,000 consumers, so don't wait. If you owe $10, $20,